Welcome once again, all you Warhammers and Warhammies, to the best episode of Big M's Power Hour to date. I'm your host, Big M, along with the long lost Cole of the Sea. He was
Hey,
lost,
how's it going?
but now he is found.
Yes, I've come back in from the sea. Glad to be back.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry we didn't really talk too much last month. I knew I just had the announcement about the game, and there really wasn't. Our
That's
schedules just
okay.
weren't lining up.
No, they were not. That's okay.
So, so this is the last episode before NashCon, which
Yeah.
you're not going.
No, but I went without you last year, so it's only fair that you go without me this year.
Well, I mean, you broke my heart then. You broke my heart now. It's
I know. It's just never ending cycle.
um. So, again, the original plan was for all of the Strength Hammer crew to go, and since I was the only one without Corn, and I was kind of interested in Corn, at least their play style,
Mhm.
I was going to start a Corn army. And then since Cole had to chicken bitch out, then
Yeah.
we're like, okay, what other armies do we have? And now we're KO. And boy, I kind of wish I would have just kept my mouth shut and said I'll start a Corn army.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all
um,
good. It's all good.
well, this past weekend, um, son of a bitch Neil came out, and
Hmm.
he greatly helped me.
Good.
We got 3 games in. The first two, he just swatted me off the board.
Okay.
Um, the uh, the the balloon boy lists that
Hmm.
aren't very good are very good against normal KO lists because
Okay.
they're just as fast as you are,
Right.
and
They have the speed to catch up to you and then
right,
smack you over the head. Yeah.
right, and they have the exact right stats to take you out. So, but he helped me refine my main list.
Okay.
Um, that so I feel a little more confident in it now. Um, one nice thing about it is I don't have to pay anything else.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
That
that
always
blue.
helps.
Here, let me see. I think it's right over here.
Always helps.
So all I need to do, since I didn't again want to paint too much,
Hmm.
and I figured if someone's going to be a jerk and bring like a bunch of endless spells and all that other garbage, I'll just go
Right.
ahead and bring an incarnate. And
Ooh, there
so
we go.
so all I need to do for that is just some grit.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Get him
Um,
all set up.
I'm currently working on my big old display board. That's I don't know, man. I'm like I was nervous to
Yeah.
get started, and I'm still nervous because nothing major's gone wrong yet. Knock on wood.
Well,
Um,
sometimes you're allowed to have things just go right.
no,
I thought I'd let you know.
no. That's not how it works.
Well, then, your luck. It'll wait until the very last moment. And that's when something will go wrong.
Well, so kind of touching on that I found very entertaining. I the Saturday Neil came over. We went over to my buddy Tyler's house, and we played some Conquest.
Okay.
Uh, and Tyler was sitting there looking at the odds. Like it's like, okay, well, it should do about typically, probably get 6 or 7 damage in here, and then you'll probably fail 3 or 4 more, your resolve tests. But since it's you, it's probably going to be closer to 9 damage, so it should be good. I'm like, don't take my shit rolls
Into account. Yeah.
like into your strategy. Like, don't be doing it. And again, of course, he was right. He was,
Of course. Of course. Yeah. Somehow you have a completely different math that you operate while playing games than anyone else I know.
I mean, we've played how many games? Like,
Mhm.
I,
You see, I think I know what your problem is in Warhammer. You enjoy really elite armies
mm-hmm,
where there's not a lot of dice being thrown around.
yeah,
What we need to do is have you play a horde army where you're just throwing a bucket of dice. So even with your luck, it all just
yeah,
evens out.
yeah.
We can smooth that out a little bit.
Well, that's what Neil and I kept talking about. I'm like, if they could just refine Stormcast into
Mhm.
Custodes, We'd be fine.
Okay.
We'd be
Okay.
in a good place.
That is true. That is true. Your 40K custodes do rather well. It is
Yeah.
an odd thing to see you not roll ones for them.
Right. That's the other thing is like, as soon as I leave the realm of AOS, I guess the problem is it's like, I have this thing where as soon as I stop caring about it,
It all goes fine.
yeah, like
That's
one
what
year,
you're telling me. Is you got to stop caring about Age of Sigmar.
right. I need to go back to my '90s kids root.
Yes.
Being apathetic about everything. Well, it's like whenever I was like going on family vacation whenever I was younger, there was a billiard table,
Mhm.
and as soon as I stopped trying to be good at billiards and just started being like a cocky jerk, just every
Yep.
ball went exactly where I wanted it to.
Jeez.
Try to do an actual shot? No, that's not going to work.
That's not going to be a thing, huh?
No. But we also got Neil to play Conquest.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
It's
And
happening. You're infecting the group.
he said, quote, hey, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Yep.
Neil Araka.
Yeah. So I intended for him to play my 100 Kingdoms, but he ended up playing my Spire instead.
Okay.
Because Tyler's friend was supposed to have his army built, but he decided that he can crack that whole box out in an evening. You can't do that
Right.
with Conquest armies, Conquest models. It's a little too much.
They take a little bit longer.
Yeah. They're
It's a lot of Age of Sigmar 40K stuff nowadays. Like the newer kits, you're probably not banging out in the evening unless you're like, okay, everyone else go away. I'm going to focus on this now. Yeah.
well, they just again, it's that old reason of why GW's on top with just superior models, superior sculpts.
It is. Yeah.
Because you just got to do a lot of cleanup on those. But speaking of, this morning I was putting together Fellbats.
Oh.
It's literally a sprue like this, one sprue, and it's $60.
Oh, that's just nuts. Yeah, and it's the old sprue too, isn't it?
It's brand new.
Is
they
it
put
the
them
new?
out.
Oh, that's right, the newer ones. Now I remember. Oh, that is nuts. Yeah.
Ridiculous. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say because they're a modeling company, so they wouldn't charge based on the utility of the piece in the game, right?
Right. Look, they pretended to be a modeling company, at least for a little while here with 40K. Let's not be mean to them. Maybe they'll keep this up. It's weird. Okay.
Have you gotten any real 40K in?
I haven't gotten any of the new edition in. I've definitely looked over all the rules, was very happy that I was able to use the app for free, at least, for however long they're going to allow us to do that. They should continue to do that because the Age of Sigmar one's free. So you should do that with everything,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, fabricators, they're at the point where they've run a couple events now.
Yeah.
They're like, there's just these, like, couple sloppy rules that are so bad at the wrong, like, it's just like, they're kind of bad, but at the wrong place at the wrong time, and it just, like, pulls everything out from underneath it.
Right. I've heard a couple things like that, just kind of looking around online because with not being able to play any games, I've been very curious how it's going. Obviously, we've got a few standout factions right now,
right?
In Eldar and what is it, Gene Stealer cults, but that's something that can get smoothed out over time. Hopefully, we had whenever 8th was that big shake up and reset. There was the issue of the flyer meta for a little while there. So, I mean, it is something that they will learn, and thankfully GW will probably make a change of some sort.
I mean, I think my hang up is, this is index time. This is where the game's supposed to be in perfect harmony.
Yeah.
Like, there's supposed to be, like, I understand there's always going to be something that doesn't mesh right.
It's slightly better.
Like,
yes.
Oh, we didn't really think hey, whenever we release, all the indexes and allow people to take allies, that everyone's literally just going to take the best model of everything from the entire Imperium and mush it together. We didn't
Right.
expect that. Like, okay, I can see that oversight, but literally, like,
Mm.
just look at the Eldar rules.
Yeah.
Did you read it
Yeah.
twice? Did you read it the whole way through the first time?
Oh, no. No one ever does.
Dear
Even in Age of
God.
Sigmar or anything, you read the first sentence, you're like, that says what I want. I'll stop.
I mean, like, that's my hang up, is just the fact that they all came out at the same time.
Right.
And then, like, again, not to gripe about it because it's a faction that I was interested in, but like, you have some factions like Votan
Mhm.
that literally had everything stripped away.
Yeah, I know. They got very vanilla very fast with this edition.
They are so plain and so basic. I don't know who would want to play them at this point.
Right. No,
I
I
mean,
know.
The judgment tokens now only going up to 2 and only giving you +1 to hit, +1 to wound if you have both. Please,
Yeah.
please. Speaking of, I did think of a way that would have been more interesting. All
Okay.
of that broke ass railgun shit.
Hmm.
What if that only happened if you got the auto wound to 6?
Could be interesting.
Like, obviously, still take something away.
Right.
You don't
Yeah,
need
yeah.
all of those rules.
Right. It doesn't need to be every single die that gets rolled, but
Right.
just on the 6s is what
Right.
you're saying.
No, not even like so. Like, if you roll a 6 to wound, no, nothing special happens.
Okay.
If you roll the 6 to hit and auto wound because of judgment,
Hmm.
then the ability happens. Whether it's damage spillover or it does mortal wounds, whatever,
Right. Yeah. That's a possibility.
I
It's
think
possible.
I think that would be much more interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
One of those things we will have to see where they go with codexes whenever we actually start getting those, because I think there's quite a few armies that are feeling
Right.
left out on their flavor right now.
I
So,
know, Death Guard's another notorious one.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they are. They're
how
missing.
you screw up Death Guard, I'm not 100% sure.
Hey, sometimes you'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
No one plays that faction anyways.
Yeah, no, we didn't make that like part of one of the main starter boxes at any point, so nobody ever plays it.
Uh, yeah. All right, well, let's get into the news here over the last month. I couldn't remember where I left off in the last episode, so I just decided I'm going to start July 1st. And of course,
Sounds
we're going to
good.
start with July 1st, but City Sigmar reveal.
Yeah,
They showed off a little bit more, like, guy with pot.
guy with pot,
Not marijuana, but cooking
right?
utensils.
Cooking pot.
I'm gonna say this probably up until 6 months after the release, but like, imagine if instead of this is going to be a 100% human army, imagine this was a dwarf priest.
And I think especially with the runes on his apron and on the pot itself, you could have played with that and have made this model be a dwarf or
Now,
something.
to be
like
fair, those are so that's
I know
you have
that
to
those-
fantasy, but those are the Winds of the Magic thing. But like,
Right.
yeah, I mean,
Even still, it's rune magic, so
Right.
who better to do something like that than a dwarf?
yeah. It's funny. Like, I keep swinging back and forth on this, whether I think it's cool or not. I think if you don't look at it, like if you just like, look and look away, it's cool.
Right.
But then you like notice like, well, he doesn't have a shirt. He's just wearing a giant leather apron. So is he
Right.
like? Do we got another Sigvald thing going on? Is he gonna turn around? We got paint flapping cheeks. Is that what we got going?
I don't think he'll be quite that bad. I think you can kind of see it in the picture in the top right. He is wearing like a chainmail, I want to say
Under the
like
chain.
pants or something.
What's under the chainmail, Cole?
Well, what's under your pants? All right.
More pants.
I'm sorry.
So they finally showed the rest of the um,
Yeah.
standard
The
troop.
rest of the
What do
unit.
they have in
Yeah.
here for them? Free old steel helms.
Yeah. The
Boy,
base
yeah.
unit.
That's what I would do is bring more attention to those helms. That's,
Yeah. No. I'll tell you what. If everyone had the same like pike top helmet and just the unit champ had the more fancy helmet,
mhm.
I'd be down. I'm okay with that.
It's like it's just kind of random. Like,
Right, exactly. It. I would have liked it if it was unit champ, so that nobody would ever have to ask me across the table.
right.
Obviously, the dude with the bigger hat is the guy in
Well,
charge of all of them.
so the lady champ does have a big like
I guess she does. Yeah,
I don't
she's got something extra going on there.
again James Workshop fire your hat
Yeah,
developer. Get a new
I
lead hat developer.
I'm interested. Maybe I missed it during it. Just the dude with a club who looks like he's. I don't know what exactly he's carrying with him.
So
I,
it's just like a I forget what they called it. It's in there somewhere.
okay, I
Um,
gotta go find it. I must have just skimmed over it pretty
yeah, they didn't
quick.
say what it does though.
Okay.
Now I will say, finally, after you know countless millennia,
Mhm.
we have a massive evolution here.
Okay.
The cities of Sigmar, the humans themselves, have taken a massive step forward into progress, where
Mhm.
one can now hold a banner and a musical instrument at the same time.
I mean, it has got to be a tiring life, though, to have to haul that banner around. And whenever you stop carrying it, you got to start blowing on this horn. Like, you got to have some good cardio. That's all I'm
Yes, yes.
saying.
Well, that's why he's the skinny one, and everyone else is kind of like
Right.
a sack of
Yes.
potatoes.
Yeah.
I don't remember them showing anything new with the knights. I think they're just kind of showing them again.
Showing off the knights. Yeah.
Which again,
Yep.
like, why do you have a portcullis on your head? I don't understand. It doesn't.
They are going very high fantasy with a lot of what's going
It's not
on. The
even high fantasy.
horns.
It's just bizarre.
I,
Like
it
honestly,
is. It
the
is.
horns.
It's
I'm
look.
fine with
It's
the
helmet
horns.
game. Yeah, I think the horn one might be the best of the
Yeah,
group.
I think so.
Yeah.
Um, again, there's no reason for a helmet to go like above here. Like you don't need to do.
We got to show them elves we can make better helmets, though.
Uh,
Them stinking elves.
and finally, we got a show of what I can only assume is our centerpiece model.
Yeah. No,
Um,
the lioness.
you know,
She is. That is a model. I'll
yes.
tell you.
I again the closest thing I have to criticism on this is
Yeah.
I don't know chimeras well enough in fantasy,
Right.
but I know in mythology they do have hooved back feet.
Okay.
I would have
Okay.
liked to have seen that, but again, um, you aren't going to lose any points for that nitpick.
No, no, it does. It looks like a very stout beast. Like the pose that they decided to give it
Yeah.
isn't bad looking, at least from this photo. Where
Honestly, they have
they just something they could have messed up.
yeah, they have one picture of the lion's face, and that's probably one of the best lions they've ever sculpted.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing
Um,
wrong with that.
yeah, that's okay. So moving along, we had our Bretonian guy who looks fine.
Like an old Bretonian model that just
Yeah,
kind of got a refresh. I mean, he looks correct. I like
he's a
how
little stumpy.
a little bit,
I'm
but I
pretty
mean,
sure his legs. Let me see. Yeah, his legs are longer than his body by a decent amount.
yeah, it happens. It happens, you know.
Like the. Oh, Mom, I want a standard bear. We have standard bear at home. Standard bear at home. It's fine. Like I said,
Yeah, yep.
it's not even necessarily any issue with the standard bear. It's more along the lines that, like, come on, stop it. Just
Just give
even if the release is 3 to 4 months off, just
tell us. Yes.
Be it done. And also, by the way, that's not how flails work. All right, you cannot put a fleur de lis at the top of your flail. The flail's supposed to flip over
But
that
you
side.
don't want the flail to get caught on the fleur de lis as you
Yeah, I
swing
don't.
it, and the
I
chain
don't.
just slowly gets shorter as it swings around.
That's what it should do. Is if you roll a 1 to hit with that weapon, it flies out of your hand and does a mortal wound to somebody. That's,
See, it starts with a 3-inch reach or something like that. But as you get,
all right, moving along. We got somehow Warhammer Underworld still chugging along. Um,
yeah,
Skaven Smoke.
Skaven Smoke, they are continuing along with the smoke. I I'm pretty certain that anytime they do smoke, if you go watch Warhammer Weekly, Vince tells them to stop doing the
I was
smoke.
I was just going to Vince as soon as you were done there, like literally the one person who, above all else, has been waiting for any Skaven anything.
Right, that he has to get smoke with
And
it
they're
too.
like, hey, we're gonna put smoke in every single fucking model,
Right,
and we're gonna make it
like
so
I
it's the
get it.
main.
They're incense. I understand why.
I get it.
However, I agree. Modeling smoke real difficult. Never looks quite right.
I feel like there's one. So there's one with like holding a little book and holding up a sensor, and then there's one
Yes.
swinging a flail on a pole arm.
hmm
That smoke doesn't look right to me.
I have to agree. It's a little off, and I think that's probably why they should stop trying to.
Well,
Now, if it was just a few little whiffs very close to the sensor, I'd be okay with it. But they
it's like
overdid
they
it.
took
I
a
think.
picture. Because I mean, that's kind of I assume what they do is they think of a
Right.
scene and they take a picture and that's what they're going to go with it. Like,
Yeah.
and this is like on the swing back.
Yes, this was back and then gonna come forward and
Right,
whack you over the head. I'd rather you give me the moment after he swings.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that here with
Yep.
the smoke going behind him. Like that would have been a much cooler pose.
I agree. Yeah. More
but-
dynamic.
If you're still playing Underworlds, good for you.
Yeah.
Hope you're having fun. Hope
We'll see if we see these ones on the table of regular Age of Sigmar or not,
Yeah.
because sometimes the warbands sneak through.
Well, that's I don't know if I'm under NDA or not, but Chuck's original plan for the Teyrathi Invitational this year was going to be Mordheim.
Oh yes, yeah.
And so I was going to use the Underworld warband of the Witch Hunters to make a Witch Hunter warband.
Okay.
So we'll see if he continues that or if changes it up. Okay, then we got Warcry, where we got Cruel Boys, where
I mean, yeah, we got some cruel boys. They're interesting. That is for certain. The apes are
I don't understand apes.
not expected. Like, obviously, I haven't read much lore. Maybe
Swamp apes.
something lore wise explains what's going on with them.
Oh, it's the Swamp Apes. It's Swamp
Yeah.
Apes of Gur.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really don't know. Outside of that, everyone wearing like what looks like a Seraphon head almost.
Yeah.
From time to time. So
I like the the little guy holding what appears to be a testicle.
I think it's supposed to be a brain. I don't know.
Well, that's clearly a testicle. And look, if you look at the chief, what do you see hanging from the
Meh.
scrot?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
Old
Yep.
Scrody.
Aha. Aha.
That's a garget. That's a garget nut. That's what that is.
He's going to be wanting that back. He'll probably be very upset that something happened to it.
He's gonna eat that, thinking he's gonna get bigger, but it's not gonna work.
Ah,
There, guys, I put your narrative together for you.
there you go.
It's fine. I'm sure for the 12 people that really like Cruel Boys, they'll be very happy and very pleased.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't care less. And then, of course, the thing that's pissing off everybody from everyone that's looking forward to Old World got a little bit of a spit in the eye with the announcement of Epic or Legions Imperialis. Because
Right.
not
Essentially. Yeah.
right. It's like we've been waiting 4 or 5 years, and they're like, "Hey, guess what? New game. Here's a full box set. Here's when it's coming out. Have fun."
Right. Hey, we know we haven't talked about this at all. Here, we're going to drop the finished product in your lap.
Uh,
Thank you.
what do you think? Full head first dive into Epic?
Not for me, not personally. Now, if a group starts really getting into it around here, maybe just because it's nice that it's a small army, I'll be able to fit in a smaller box. But
I
yeah,
honestly,
I'm not too big into it right now.
I can't even drum up interest in it. Like,
Mhm.
if you were like, "Hey, do you want to play this?" I'd be like, "If you have two armies, I'll be happy to play with you."
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Moving along, continuing here. 4th of July, we had our. This was very bizarre. The Warcry starter set.
Yeah. Especially since Warcry's been out for a while.
Yeah,
This
so
is very small amount of terrain to be able to actually
right.
do much for Warcry.
This is
Yeah.
the most un-Warcry thing I've ever seen. Um, now, um, does say they're in Shaiish, so I guess that would mean this is not of things to come, and more along
Right.
the lines, hey, we have all these underworld vampires and all of these underworld stormcast models. What do we do with them? Um, there's nothing wrong with it overtly. It's just like there's not enough terrain, the board's not big enough, and then these models are not conducive um, to Warcry.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Not all that, I don't know. Like, yes, these are two Warcry warbands, but if you're trying to get them interested in the game, having them with these vampire models that they aren't ever really going to use, or the Stormcast models that you would just never use in regular Age of Sigmar, um, pretty bad to be doing that to somebody, honestly. And just if you want to play Warcry, you need terrain to make it interesting. And
Yeah.
I don't know, these walls really aren't doing it.
Now, I think what would have been a good idea for them if they really wanted,
Mhm.
have this be your first crossover box where, hey, have any interest in Warcry or Underworlds? Pick up this box and you get both games and you're ready to play.
Mhm.
Because again, at that point, all you're doing is throwing in a couple cards.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, moving on to the 6th. We got a meta watch where
Oh,
we
yes.
got our battle scroll.
Yeah.
Um, I was very surprised by a lot of this.
A lot of the points changing things were very surprising in my mind. Yeah.
I appreciate them bruising my prostate with the KO point changes.
Yeah, they really did not like KO in the current form that they were at, and just said, I don't know, up it. If it's in there, just make it more.
Even if they would have just let the Admiral alone, I could have salvaged some things. But like,
Mm.
holy cow, man! Just you only gave us 5 good. First off, your army only has 5 war scrolls total,
5 war scrolls anyway. Yes.
and then you out of those you gave me 2 good ones. Like,
Hey, at least Arcanaut Company, that you were taking loads of.
I
Those
was
went down.
so after that happened, I was so tempted, not tempted, but so wanted to just take like one, I don't know, whatever's the lowest point cost code right,
Mhm.
sure, and then just units of
Stuff it with
Arcanauts,
Arcanaut.
just silly with Arcanauts. Let's see if I can.
These.
So I think you can get almost, you can get over 200 on the board. So,
Right. Oh boy.
but so we got the coherency update.
Yeah, just a good cleanup as far as I'm concerned, and making sure, hey, verticality exists. We have to acknowledge it.
Well,
And
also
so,
going from 2 to 6 instead of 2 to 5.
oh, that's right. 2 to 6. I didn't think of that.
So that's a really good thing for
Yeah. For all the
um,
6-man units out in the world out there.
right.
Yeah.
So that's all of your. Now you can actually probably expect to see some annihilators in groups of 6. Balloon boys could be up to 6 now.
Yep.
Even there's a lot of crap. Of course, you've also given Varengard the nice little package as
Right.
well. That's what they needed,
Exactly.
by the way. That's
Yes.
to take up more room. Now you just
Oh
have
yeah.
end to end and just walk side strafe across the board.
Yep. Yep. Just Tokyo drift across the board. It's fine.
um,
The
again,
Lookout Sir
also
change. Also
look out,
interesting.
sir. Also, I
Yeah.
really appreciate the secondary punch to the part of my prostate that was already bruised. Really
Yep.
thanks on that.
Yep.
The one thing I was like, well, okay, I'll have less models, but at least I can still shoot and snipe heroes out of the. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Arcane Tome changes, same as it was before. Hey, you can only cast the base spells. You can't put it on a wizard. Okay, fine.
just leave it alone. Put it back.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad, but it was the most taken
Well,
artifact
again,
because yeah,
that's not because Arcane Tome was so good. It was because they
the ones in
sucked
your
at
book were
writing.
that bad. Yeah,
Right. It's because there was no compelling ones. Because guess what? In friggin' Soulblight, I'm not taking Arcane Tome. I'm taking the Amulet of Screams. All right,
Mhm.
or like I said, the people used Arcane Tome as spackle to fill in the holes that you left behind when you wrote rules.
Yeah,
So you didn't fix anything. You just took away the spackle. You
yeah.
jerk.
Yep.
I don't even know what the corn was before.
It used to say pick 3, and now it says pick 1. Yeah, yeah. So you can get to 3 if you spend it 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it was probably the best thing that Korn could do was each hero phase. They were like, I will be in or out of this combat if I would like to change that.
Yeah.
So there was
Yeah, like I said, I mean, that's one thing. It's so weird. Like, they really haven't put out any of their own metrics since Corn's really come out.
I think Korn was doing very well, and I believe this change is part of them doing that well. Is people were like, "Oh, what's the problem?" Well, they stand just outside of 3 inches, and then they roll, and they get 1 inch, and now I'm in combat.
Yeah.
So,
And then the Soulblight changes. The zombie one kind of stinks, but it's what we were expecting. Like,
right, it was a change that they were trying to do to make there be some variance in the army.
yeah, yeah. Well, again, I mean, like, I don't know what you expect. Again, it's like skeletons are good, but you can't rely on them. Like, they're great for backline because by the time you're back there,
You don't have much at that point anyway. Yeah,
right.
You've had to punch through so much.
No one's gonna take an army and base it off of wolves. Like,
no, a lot of people would like to, I think, but
right.
yeah.
So, like I said, overall, I think they're fair changes.
Yeah.
Got Grand Alliance, Lumineth.
I couldn't tell you what this change is. I was trying to look at it.
The Sons of Behemoth one is not bad. Instead of making you choose between Unified or Magnificent, you get both.
There we go.
It's not going to make you win any games, but...
No, but they at least gave you some options.
And then, of course, like I said, we got massive points changes, like plus 20 points to the 8th Chemist. Like, what you need to do is just get rid of Spell in the Bottle already, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what they could do is rewrite Spell in the Bottle to be go true Pokemon style and have it be you capture.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
You could capture it and then you could summon it later
right.
whenever you want.
Does opponent cast Endless Spell? If yes, take Endless Spell.
Right. And then again, like I said, people gripe and groan about it, but at the same time, people who aren't taking Spell in a Bottle are doing just fine.
Right.
But like 25 points on Thunderers, like holy hell, guys! Like,
They really didn't want you taking thunders.
same thing with like Fire Slayers. Like,
Mhm.
they were doing well for a hot minute.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't even that they were doing overwhelmingly well. I
Right.
think they were a good army for a solid 3-2, maybe a 4-1. I don't know how many times I actually saw Fire Slayers 5-0 an event.
Right.
Like, yes, they were good. They were good in a specific build doing a specific thing.
Right.
I don't know if we're doing much now.
Unlike Seraphon, who got cuts across the board.
Yeah, which is weird because I thought they were doing okay
They are
beforehand.
they are disgusting.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I thought. They were doing all right. I
Again,
didn't think they needed it.
if that said Slanesh instead of Seraphon there, those would all
Completely understand. Yeah.
those would all be pluses. What do you think about your Idneth changes?
Very good. I don't know what to do with the extra 100 points my list gained from these cuts. Just out of note and remind myself of how correct I was forever ago when this book came out. The Leviathan dropped another 30 points to 430 points. Just to remind everyone, when that model got printed in the recent book, it was 500 points. And I said it was not worth it at 500 points.
No.
It's finally, I think, like a half to take almost at 430. So,
Yeah, definitely.
and
I mean,
the point drop on the eels made me sit there and count out how many eels I could sit back into a list. And I tried to see if I could rebuild my second edition all eel list. You cannot, by the way. It's still a little too expensive to be able to do that. But still, it was a thought that crossed my mind. But very good drops for them across the board. I kind of think they needed it because we were always, anytime I build a list, I'd tell everyone, I need one more unit. If I could get one more solid unit in there, I'd be fine. I could play the game. And I think we're there now. I just got to figure out how I'm going to build that list. I do also think that with the shark changes, dropping 20 points apiece, there's probably an all sharks list that does decent. Quite honestly.
Alapex is all the way. I like everything I see with Sylvaneth. I really like seeing Lady Vines come down 40 points.
Yeah, very good change because she was a little overcosted. And
I was shocked to see the Kurnoth Hunters drop 30.
I think just that many people were taking the sides. They're like, no, we gotta sell boxes again so people make the sword version.
Well, what's funny is like the reason you saw more scythes was because of the coherency rule.
I guess that was a big part of it because then you could reach over and still hit someone.
Right.
The
damage.
I didn't think.
The damage is roughly the same.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Now you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. But seeing the Revenant Seekers come down 10 and Spite Lancers come down 20, I'm like, okay. The only thing you're missing is the 70-point drop you need to give to Alariel.
Right, yeah. She could still use a little bit of a drop, I think.
Put her at 700 points like all the other gods and then move on.
Right, yeah. If you are an elf god, you cost 700 points.
Well,
and
except for Tempest is now up to 740.
Oh, is he now?
Yeah. Everything
that's
else
right.
on the list came down?
Yeah, except for him. Which, considering the edition we're in currently for Age of Sigmar, might be a good thing that he came down.
Again, I don't know what you... I don't know how you do anything with that army. That's... Slaves of Darkness, tearing up the scene, now getting a couple extra units on the table.
Yeah, why not? You know what? Just to go back to the last page real quick. Yeah. Whatever Chuck did and whoever he had to bribe to get the points downs for Daughters of Cain. Yeah, so
again,
they the extra points. Like, I agree with the Doomfire Warlocks change, shit like that, because you never see those. But
no, the Doomfire Warlocks need to go up in points. Just because no one's taking them doesn't mean they're not good. Things are stupid.
All right.
I don't know, man. Like, this is like, whenever I'm just being unfair and shitty, I'll talk about GW's Chosen, where it's just, yeah, you're chosen, so you're allowed to be overpowered and broken. Like,
Right.
Daughters just dipped almost to like a normal win ratio, and like, we
Right.
can't have
Yeah. And they're
that.
like, oh, no. Got to shoot them right back up.
Get that back up there. That's
Somebody get them a shot of steroids, stick it in their arm, and send them back out there.
Witch Elves at 110 points.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I know. A fully buffed, Witch Elves coming to rip your face off. You're just like, why? Why you do this to me?
Oh, I'm so glad that you only put 330 points into destroying my entire Gargant in one turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slaves of Darkness. I don't know what the hell they're thinking there. Same thing with Slanesh. Like, I don't know how they're doing in the meta, but like every time I fought them, it is so one-sided and it is such a miserable game, and I just want to go home.
Yeah.
Have you fought against them yet?
Not recently. I can't say I have. Looking this over, they definitely just kind of looked down everyone's lists as of late, it looks like, and said, if it gets played, it's going to go up.
Yeah.
If it doesn't get played, it goes down.
Well, I do think the trouble units are the Blissbarb Seekers and the Slick Blade Seekers. Was it the Slick Blade? I don't know. Whatever I was on horse and...
Oh, yeah.
Horse.
Yep.
Horse-related beast of burden. Did you think of anything about the Blades of Corn changes?
It kind of the same thing. I really, as much as I hate to say it, the Bleeding Icon was definitely the best prayer by like a long shot. And if you ever just had 40 points, you automatically took it.
That's only 50
so,
points.
Yeah, it might just be more difficult for people to fit it in.
Yeah.
Mighty Skull Crusher's up 10 points. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I think it changes the math of a lot of lists. And it kind of needed to happen with them just kind of chilling out on a pretty easy to make 2-up armor save at 15 wounds for the 3 models. So they could be a heck of a rock to sit in front of somebody.
Yeah, I'll say, like, I do feel like, kind of now that I've had time to digest the Corn book, I do feel like they just gave Corn players just a couple key really good units.
Yeah.
And just kind of phoned in the rest of the War Scrolls.
Right. No, that book, you look at it and you can tell the stuff someone was excited about.
Yeah.
And stuff they weren't overly excited about some of it, and it shows.
Yeah.
And obviously GW wants to see more of the 2 bloodthirsters that never see the table, so they made them cheaper by 20 and 30 points respectively. Why not?
Oh, just make them allegiance ability and move on.
Yeah, just, I don't know. You get to have one for playing Corn. There you go.
I was surprised to see any changes for Disciples of Tzeentch, considering how good they've been doing.
Yeah, I felt like they've been in a actually half decent spot. Like, you have to know what you're doing with the army, and if you don't, you're just going to get smacked down. Maybe this is them trying to make it slightly easier on those players and might be able to fit one more unit in, depending on what it was you were doing with them. The horrors going up is pretty rough for them because, yes, they're a very good DPS check army.
Yeah.
But once you get past the lower tables, I feel like they start to struggle, or at least you have to fight a lot more to get those points. So,
right.
Odd spot.
I'm happy to see the Nurgle changes. When that book came out, I was sitting there just going, boy, everything just feels a little too pricey.
Right. There were a few people that could really make that book work, but it was a few and far between type thing, I felt.
Well, also, this is one of the ones where, like, if you pull back on some of the points, we might see some other builds other than just the down your throat one.
Right. No, that's true. We might see something other than a bunch of flyers come and smack you in the face. Yeah.
Which their points didn't even go up.
No, they didn't go up, and I don't think they really needed
possible Blight Lords.
I guess so. They went down 10 for Blight Lords. Yeah.
No surprise that the Rotmire Creed went up.
No. I mean, but with everything else going down, I don't think you notice it's an uptick.
Yeah. It's
Same
funny,
thing
but-
with the blow ab. So
Right. That's the thing is like, you're probably gonna be taking a Lord of Blights.
right. So that's
So
half the
paying the
points.
same.
But yeah, exactly.
Because Sloppity,
Yep.
or not Sloppity, Blow Up only went up 10.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's gonna be
So that's
fair.
a pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Really
the
didn't change.
Rottmeier Creed is just gonna be good at like preventing them from being spammed, which you definitely want to
Yeah.
avoid.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Skaven just went down everywhere because I'll be honest, couldn't tell you last time I saw a Skaven player doing overly well. That has been a fight for them. So I'm glad to see that. I think that will help them out. Hopefully. I mean, getting an extra unit on the table at minimum, I feel like. So it'll be interesting to see, just like my Deepkin, whether or not that is enough to help them get one more unit out.
I think if
Yeah.
this doesn't work,
Mm.
I think next time they might want to try better rules.
That might help.
Might.
It might help.
On to death. I was surprised to see the Night Haunts drop.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were doing.
I didn't feel like they were doing all that bad either. I felt like they were kind of an army to be reckoned with in some matchups.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. I think they were also the same, like, give me one more unit and I can be great space. So I think that's essentially what they went for here. Nagash obviously saw zero play after his points. So the drop of 65 down to 900 is them being like, please, somebody play him.
I think they need to just put a hard cap in their brain of 900 points.
Right. Just units should not be above this.
Right.
Yeah.
And if something deserves to be over 900 points, don't put it on the table. Unless
Right.
it's
Yeah.
some dumb narrative niche thing. Like if you want to bring out, friggin' Sigmar at 1,500 points or whatever, just don't make that match play. That's
Right. Yeah. Right.
Oceark Bone Reapers, no surprise on any of that.
No, yeah, the units that were doing decent there, they went up some. Other things came on down. Why not? I'm not upset about this or anything. They're still in an awkward spot, and I don't think the newest season really helps them much. I mean, they at least have a spellcaster or two that'll take care of it.
Well,
but
recently, I don't know if you've been following Honest Wargamer at all.
No, not in the last little bit.
Some people have figured something out with them. I haven't figured out exactly what it is, but they are just oppressive.
Are they?
Yeah. Something to do with Ark and the Black, who went up 10 points. But
okay. Between that and the guard going up 20, that makes a little bit of sense then. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. Same thing with Soul Blight. I get it. I don't like it. But at the same time,
yeah.
I feel like they're kind of picking on the Necromancer for no reason. No mistake.
Yeah, he just kind of took a stray. It's fine.
Same thing with like Corpse Cart. Like, I'm still a little about how they did Corpse Cart.
Yeah.
I feel like what they should have done is they should have made it Necromancer on Corpse Cart.
Okay.
Because
it's
just out there, and like it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
vital, and there's nothing you can do.
Right. Just reading through points, I just realized they go back on this whole 5-point increment thing. It seems like I just noticed that whenever I looked down at the Fellbats and went, they only dropped 5 points. Oh, wait. We aren't having anything with a 5-point increment anymore.
Yeah, they're like, let's get out of 5 points in most places, but some places will still have 5 points.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, okay, I understand why you're doing that, but all you're doing is cementing the lists.
Right. And you're just, if you had that one odd pick that nobody else had,
Right.
well, you don't have the points for that thing anymore. So you'll have to
Because that's the
play
thing.
it
It's like
safe on steroids.
if you look at the battle line, zombies, skeletons, direwolves,
Yep.
all up 5, 15, 10.
Yep. So you don't have the leftover points from taking a bunch of those units to do something else.
And I
Which,
appreciate them dropping the Bloodseeker Palaquin 40 points. They can go ahead and drop it another 270, and I guarantee you no
yeah,
one is going to take it.
gotcha.
Not that it's bad. It's just like, even if it was 70 points, it's like, what do I do with you? Like, you're just kind of in the way.
Yeah, I
Uh,
hear you.
moving on to Gits, I was just I was just shocked to see trolls and squigs go up. I don't know what would cause that.
Yeah, it's almost like you push a unit, and then you go, "Oh, yeah, we really pushed that unit." It's weird how that works. So I don't think you won't see them now, but it'll be interesting to see if the points changes do anything.
Yeah.
I think it changes some of your like leftover, what are they, objective grabbers. But that's about it.
Uh, Again, I still don't like the fact that they keep putting the points of Scragrod up, because this is now what, the second time in a row they put Scragrod up,
I'd have to look back at the last one to tell you for certain,
and
but
it's
very
like,
well could be.
do you
Yeah.
want people to take him or do you not want people to take him?
Right. Yeah.
He's a utility piece. He's vital to the army, but it's not like his buff isn't game breaking.
Right.
Leave him alone. He's fine. Stop it. Um, Ogre saw sweeping point changes,
Yeah. I
except for
think this won't amount to much,
yeah.
honest.
I think the Stonehorns needed to go down, not up.
Well, those the reason I think they went up is they were definitely like the only damage output in the army.
Yeah.
But more than likely, if you were running a bunch of Stonehorns, you also ran like 3 units of Yeti at least. So I think you won't even see the list change.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Uh,
if you're one of the weird people out there trying to build the foot ogre list, though, stuff just got cheaper. Maybe it's viable. I
yeah.
don't know.
Same thing with the Orc War Clans. Everything dropped. I was glad to see the Brutes, and I was surprised to see the Mega Boss.
Which mega boss was it? Now I gotta
Mega
find
Boss on
that.
Maw
Oh,
Crusher
on Maw
went
Crusher.
down 30 points. Now, again, it shouldn't have been 480 to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. But yeah, that Godrak went down, and he's on one. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sons of Behemoth. Cool.
Just making it cheaper. Yeah,
Not
and
helping
not.
me in any way, shape, or form. Like, you literally have to drop the points to the point where it makes it so I can bring in another Mega in order for it
Right.
to change.
Much. Yeah.
Because you've already, like, taken away every avenue I have to, like, deal with magic and stuff.
Hmm.
So, like, I don't know what I'm going to do there. And then, of
Yeah.
course, endless spell changes. So, and that's all fine.
Yeah. Some endless spell changes that probably needed to happen.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fine.
surprised Cogs didn't double in points with going into the meta we're going into.
Yeah, no, same. Purple Sun coming back down the 10 points. I guess they figured that the changes they made so it doesn't just eat so many models is acceptable at this point. So,
All right, so that has been way too long with us not talking about Cities of Sigmar. So,
yeah, yeah,
July 10th, we got human Jazales.
that is a good way of putting it. Yep. I mean, still, they're interesting models.
Yeah, it's
It
brand new.
makes me think early firearms. Sure. It's a cool idea. The dude rocking 3 barrels
Yeah.
there is I'm interested to see how these do because obviously the idea was for them to be a very defensive shooting unit in my mind. That's what I'm seeing.
Right, and then you have a little guy holding a flag carrying ammo. That's
Yeah, it's fine. Fine.
again, I'm interested to see the rules.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. Like, I think I like the concept of these models more than I like the actual models.
Yeah, I don't know what it is for me. I feel like there's almost too much going on our baseline troops for me.
Yeah, I think
Might be
for
part of
me, I
it.
think it's specifically that it's so smushed. Like you have so much on that one base. I kind of
Right.
might have liked to have seen the base size go up one more, just to give it a little bit of breathing room.
Okay. Yeah, I see
Uh,
what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, it's just real scrunched, but I'm sure they'll be adequate in large numbers to the point where you go, oh god damn it, not another cities player.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course they also then showed box, the box set, which is
Oh, yes.
probably the most underwhelming box set I've ever seen.
It is a box set.
So you get two bare bone battle line unit and a set of knights. That's probably gonna run you 250, 210.
It's gonna not be cheap. That's for certain.
Then, of course, they did go through and finally state what was going, what was staying.
Right. Yeah. Which upset a lot of people, I believe.
Well,
And
I saw a lot of people talk about, well, why didn't they tell us this before the army came out? And it's like, well, the army's not out yet. They are
right.
telling you now. Don't
Yes.
like. Okay, so here, do a little personal story time here. So, like
Hmm.
for Old World, one of the armies that I'm interested as a side army is Chaos Dwarves.
Hmm.
I have not started Chaos Dwarves.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to know why I haven't started Chaos Dwarves?
What is that, Matt?
I don't know the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just wait. Just wait.
Yeah. No. And unfortunate if you are one of the people that already owned a lot of these, but is what is, I guess.
I'm absolutely shocked to see Wood Elves go.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm shocked to see Wood Elves go and not Dark Elves. Because you would think that Sigmar would have kicked their asses out of every city after the bullshit that
You would think, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, and the
you're like,
lore
oh,
there.
oh, you're looking
Just
for
be
somewhere to
like,
live? Try Anvil Guard. Like,
right. Yeah.
again, Phoenix Guard, all the high elf stuff. I get it. We have Lumineth.
Right. Yep.
In my mind, Lumineth is a 100% replacement for high elves.
Yep. Yeah, that's the best way of looking at it.
Because, like, again, I know I'm probably the only person who doesn't consider the Dwarden stuff, a KO to be a replacement for them, just because the
Mhm.
playstyle is the complete inverse of what they offer.
Right.
But everything else, like you have, for the Dark Elves, we know Umberneth are somewhere in the near future.
Right.
Hopefully, fourth edition.
Yeah, hopefully coming up here.
Fourth edition, if not fourth edition, they have to be out fifth edition.
I certainly hope so, with that being 3-4 years out now.
Considering that there's an active battle going on between Tyrion and Malarian or Malekith.
Nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, like I said, there's no replacement for the Wood Elves.
Right. I mean, I guess your best way of putting it would be like, well, Sylvaneth are the Wood Elves, but you don't actually see any of the physical elves. Yeah.
We saw one Underworld's warband with them.
Yeah.
Which people are clamoring to get more of. Like,
yeah.
I would say, like, I don't understand why they didn't move the Wood Elves to the Sylvaneth book.
That would have been not a bad idea.
I understand that Ilariel is mad at the Wood Elves, but at the same time, because like that's the other thing, it's like the Wood Elf line is like one of the last lines to come out in fantasy. Those are still gorgeous models.
Some of the newer models, yeah, they aren't that bad.
I mean, just looking at like, have you ever seen like Sisters of the Thorn or the
yeah, I've definitely seen the Ranger Sister
the
box.
Eternal
Yeah.
Guard are just so cool looking. It's a shame to see such good models just go to waste.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
We got our Hellblaster volley gun and the Hellstorm uh, rocket
Rocket
battery.
battery.
Like,
Yeah.
I assume that means we're going to get an artillery.
Yeah, I'd assume that these Sigmarites come with an artillery piece of some sort with them.
I they'll never do it, and I don't know why, but I would love to see them consider artillery a unit, just like every other unit in the game, where you get 2 or 3.
Okay. Yeah, that could be interesting to see. Yeah, you actually have a battery of
Right.
cannons or something. Yeah.
Because think about it, like the problem is you're trying to get something. You have to take a. They're taking a singular siege weapon
Hmm.
and they're pointing it to the point where you can't spam it,
Hmm.
but then no fail will never do as well as the 10-man squad with bows that is from the same army.
Well, yeah, because it only gets one shot, so you'll
Right.
probably miss. Don't worry.
One shot, 4s, 2s, Ren 14 with the D3 times 2 minus 1 damage. That's
Oh boy.
so again, if you weren't expecting to see units go away, I'm sorry, you were living
Yeah.
in a world of delusion. That's now. I do have to point out, torn on my level of surprise with Demogryph Knights.
Yeah, it does feel like that's a unit that could have survived into the new army and still felt at home.
Right, it's like this was like a unit that predated Age of Sigmar,
Yeah.
and we're taking away your magical Demogryph,
Yeah.
and giving you back horses. Like, who knows? Maybe we'll see a replacement for that too, though.
Maybe it's because all the Stormcasts rounded all of them up and had to use them to make their own winged mouth
Yeah,
there.
these are ours now. Get out of here.
Yep.
Then we got the hunting pack with dogs.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. I like the idea of
Sculpts
having
are
all
really
the
cool.
dogs
I
and
really
everything.
like
Yeah.
all of the sculpts.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. It's either going to be completely pointless and you'll never see it on the table, or it's going to be in every army. Like it's going to fail ass backwards into success with one dumb side utility that's in the third column that everyone's going to use.
Right. Yeah.
Because I guarantee you these things are like 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage.
Right.
And if they hit, then roll for battle shock, and if they fail, you get +1 to hit. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think these are probably going to end up being our replacements for Shadow Warriors, but I am curious, like you said, about what does their melee profile look like? Because just the one rule, the hidden and dangerous they give us of them getting an additional rend while in cover.
yeah, which I really like.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. It tells you what you're supposed to do with them. Makes me curious what the heck the dogs are going to do.
Yeah,
So,
so we'll see. It's very good. I like
Yep.
it. All right, we got an old world development diary. I guess when this comes out, 2 weeks ago, Chuck and Neil did Chuck and son of a bitch Neil did a full episode on this, which we will not draw out that far.
no.
They brought out some interesting things, such as the heroes are all out of the units.
Right. Okay. Okay, I see that.
I know Neil really liked that, but again, it's Neil really likes huff and paint, makes some bad decisions.
Right. Yeah, don't know. Don't know
I
about.
prefer my hero to be in the unit. Like the problem is I don't have a lot of experience with fantasy. I have a lot of experience with dwarfs and fantasy, where I have a runesmith who's fine, but what he does is he makes the unit he's attached to awesome.
Right. Yeah.
The other thing that they pointed out that was very interesting, the artillery is now on bases.
Oh, I didn't even notice that back there. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Which, To be honest, we'll probably make
I
when you
prefer.
eventually charge that
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
So
Make my life easier, please.
yeah, not upset about that change at all.
Let's see. They didn't talk too much. They only gave very little stuff away. Like breaking the enemy now is not going to be. It's going to be a little bit more interactive as opposed to just, hey, did you roll low? Yeah. Hey, I rolled high. Okay, I'll take the unit off the table. Which to me
Right.
was
Yeah.
one of like, I have no problem losing stuff to Battle Shock,
Yes.
but just up, I broke. Up, there goes 400 points.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. I rolled the double sixes, so now I've got to turn them around. They're slow units, so they're going to get run down. Wonderful. A
I'm
unit of 5 dudes kills 40.
right, exactly. Like just one good
Yep.
roll and the last thing
Yep.
they talked about was the power of magic and how they are essentially no longer going to be a magic phase, and
Yeah.
instead they're going to be divvying it up throughout the rest of the turn, which I can only assume they're just taking a page straight out of their 40K book.
That's the way I feel about it too. Is more than likely what it's going to happen.
I don't know
So
how I feel about it. Like whenever they said it for 10th edition, I was like, okay, I'll bite.
a bite. Yeah.
And then whenever I read it, it just feels like everything is just kind of baked in abilities, and sometimes you have to roll for it.
Right. I think the big thing is it's just one more thing to remember. Whereas whenever I have the magic phase, it's okay, hard stop. Let's
Right.
do this part. We're done. Okay, cool.
Right. But I think at the same time, you're also going to have a lot less. You're going to have a lot less. Oh, I better remember. Oh, what's this guy have? What's this guy have? What spells were cast? It's
Okay, yeah, because you're going to find out in the moment you need it whether
exactly.
or
It's
not they
like,
have
oh,
it.
okay. Well, I'm going to use my Winds of Shaman to give me armor piercing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like I said, the only again coming from the dwarf guy, the only thing that kind of oh man is I really liked dispelling people that went heavy into magic.
Oh no, I understand completely. Yeah. You're sitting there going, "Don't worry, I've got dwarf stuff, so I just am better at dispelling you."
Now
Sorry,
again,
that's
which by the way they should bring back in Age of Sigmar, but that's neither here nor there.
right.
It does give me hope that the Anvil of Doom might actually be good.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
It's fun right now because prayers and magic are essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is you.
Whether or not they're bound. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Last article came out just today. Sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to spoil the illusion. Sorry. The Tuesday, Monday, the last day of the month. There you go.
There we are.
Vanguard Seraphon.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people saying good things about this book. About this box.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Uh, I would need to take a better look at some of the armies that have been built lately.
So as far as that goes, right now we'll see after all the points changes and everything. But as of right now,
Right.
everything is Starborn
Okay. Yeah.
because Starborn's the only one that can summon. And
Right.
what are you gonna do? You're gonna go big stompy monsters that like can get killed if you look at them a little too strong,
Right.
or do you want to summon 1,000 points in your next game? Like,
It's weird how that works out. You're rather one than the other.
so it's clearly more for the Coalesce side, which is fine. They don't have to focus on um, the meta, and it's probably even better that they don't. But
Yeah, I agree.
the thing that I don't understand is so, of course, they have Saurus Warriors, which awesome. It's an
Yep.
awesome sculpt, and that's what you're going to want whenever you go Coalesced, because you got the
Yep.
-1 to damage. But
Right.
then
You're
you
gonna
have
just
the Croxigors, where I'm not really sure what they do.
I
Like
mean, they're probably just a really cool looking unit for
that's the problem.
nowadays,
Is like
honestly. Like I want to see more of them on the table. So
they were so like not so good, but they were right there. It was like if
mhm.
you had a cool model, they'd be on the table. And now you have like definitely one of the cooler models.
Yeah, arguably top of the current
And
pile for Seraphon.
and you dialed the rules back to the point where you're like, well,
Yeah.
I guess I'll bring some skinks, I guess, for some reason. Because, like, I don't know, it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Just make them elite. Like, that's
Right.
that dumb skink rule of letting a skink captain give you a command because you're.
Yep.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense.
Right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. You're just like, I understand there's a lore issue here, but I don't understand the lore to give us a reason. Yeah.
All right, well, I don't remember where I left off with the rumor engines. Let's cleanse this palette here. All right, so we got a box of grenades and sandbags and a pie.
Okay. You know, sometimes you just need a little bit
This
of
goes
pie
back to
every
June
year.
27th while you were pulling that up.
Thank you, sir.
So that's either not a pie or this is a holiday model.
Oh, that's an idea. There we are, 27th. All right. It could not be a pie, but it looks like we got a turkey right above it. So
Yes.
I
didn't see
don't.
the turkey. Yeah, I was saying that was another sandbag. I think this is going to be a thanks. They don't have Thanksgiving. What are they doing? Well, I guess they have their Christmas turkey.
Right. Yeah, your Christmas turkey. This is going to be for some sort of holiday model. That'd be cool, though. Yeah.
I might get a Santa Slambo.
Yeah, why not?
All right, moving on to the 4th. We got a arm with a
Yeah,
spike
with a
or a thing
spike.
through it.
Through it, which is just very odd.
Very weird.
Yeah, I don't know what this cloth is supposed to make me think whenever I see it wrapped around what looks like must be the wrist.
Yeah.
Huh. Something. Oh, is that a tube coming off of the back of the arm to what's going down? Is this maybe a grotesque for 40K?
That'd be bad. Something
Dark
something
Eldar?
Dark Eldar.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
Or the Drakari.
Or the Jakari, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'll buy it.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the 11th.
Oh boy, this guy had a very bad day to the point that somehow, even though he is bone, his organs are still there. And he was a vampire, maybe before.
So obviously we can point to Soul Blight or Flesh Eater Quartz.
Mhm.
But I beg you to hold up a moment.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to go with something completely different too. So go ahead.
If you look at the tail end of these bones here that are hollowed out,
Yeah,
that to me screams Warcry.
yeah, I could see that being a part of a war cry, something with that.
They love hollow tubes and Warcry.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much where I was going to. Is this could be just like a terrain piece for war cry?
I might give it a benefit of the doubt and at least say it's like a standard bearer.
Okay, it's possible. It's very possible.
We'll see.
I don't know.
All right, moving along here to the 18th.
I mean, we got another terrain piece
Right.
looking deal going on here. That's about all I got. Is it's got some vines,
Yeah, there's like all this is just another Warcry terrain piece. So
right? Yeah,
someone was talking about something about Zinch something or other, and I'm like, yeah, no.
probably not. Probably
Maybe if they're
not.
in Warcry.
Yeah.
And then July 25th, we have a
Yeah.
bird on a statue head.
Well, yeah, we got a Seraphon or a skink on a statue head, probably.
I don't know, it looks very birdy to me.
I guess it does. Yeah, I
This
see what
one
you're
might be
saying.
Zinch, because there's candles.
Oh, that could be interesting. Yeah, there's candle in there as well.
Candles
So-
mean magic. Birds mean Zinch.
Yes.
Bird magic means Zinch.
Okay, so what we've just seen the last three is actually all just for
That's
the
all
Zinch
the same
War
model.
Band.
That's,
Yep, all Zinch Warcry Warband. There we go. This is actually a human that has been changed by Zinch, just like the corn one was for the dude who was on all fours.
Absolutely.
That's what this is.
All right, so let's see. I'll bring up an image to just kind of sit on here.
Yeah.
I don't know where to find the General's Handbook if I look up the. So I've been reading the what's the dang thing called, the narrative book came out.
Oh, geez, I'm bad at this as well, so I might not be of much help.
Hold on, there has to be a book. No new releases. It's new. The
There we go.
Harbingers from the Dawnbringer series. Yeah, I've been reading that, and the short stories. I'm having a little bit of an issue here. All the short stories not revolving around the Gur side
Okay.
are real super boring.
Mm. Okay.
It's like, hey, this is where all the action's going on, but we have two other factions we need to address, so
Right.
we'll just write a separate story that may or may not come into play if someone else can come up with something.
Right.
But all right, so here we have General's Handbook 2324. Got mine.
There we go. Good.
At first glance, I was okay with it. It's fine. You know, like I still am not a huge fan of this hyper focus on a specific.
Yeah, I feel like with the last one having been Tiny Heroes, essentially, that's what I was called. Yeah, that was rough for some armies, but at least everyone had one, and it was half decent. You could do it if you wanted to. You could build for that. Having read through this book, like, boy, if you're already a dominant magic army, congrats on becoming more dominant.
Right. So basically, if you're one of the top 5 armies, congratulations.
Yes.
You will continue to be the top 5 armies, and you're gonna gain a little lead.
Yep.
So just to jump straight to it, battle tactics.
Yeah, sure. Let me go there, because I'll be honest. I read these and I went, "Oh no! I hope that your own book has good battle tactics."
So this is basically everything I hate about battle tactics on 8 little pieces of cardboard here. So,
okay,
battle tactic 1, intimidate the invaders. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are more friendly units wholly outside your territory than there are friendly units within your territory. Which, okay.
Yeah, I mean, something that you should probably always be wanting to do if you're playing a game at Age of Sigmar anyway.
Right. That's fine.
Probably the best one here is the sad part in my mind after having read all of these, because this is one you can actually do every game.
Right. You have the ability to do this regardless of your party comp.
Opponent. Yep.
Battle Tactic 2, Reprisal. You complete this battle tactic if an enemy unit that destroyed a friendly general early in the battle is destroyed this turn. So eye for an eye, except for general.
Right, and they have to have killed your general, which you didn't want to have happen to begin with. Right. So you're really hoping that you don't have to pick this one.
Right. So this one gets a D and is going to stay on the shelf if everything goes right.
Yes. Yes, if everything goes right, I won't be able to get this one.
Now, here's the one that should have been someone's resignation letter.
Yeah, I agree.
Endless Expropriation. Hey, I did it first try.
Pick good job.
Enemy unit that is controlling or bonding an endless spell or incarnate, which means you're never going to see. Like, people are now going to go, okay, well, do I need that endless spell?
Yeah, so I think you'll still see some endless spells, especially like I think if you're someone that has a little bit of a shooting army, Purple Sun will come back. Depending on if yours are any good for your army, you'll see a couple.
Right. So,
but it'll be like 30% of your games. This will come up and only as the endless spell, maybe not the incarnate.
You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if any of the following are true. The enemy unit has been destroyed. That
Hmm.
endless spell is controlled or bonded to a friendly unit. The endless
Yep.
spell is wild. The incarnate is wild.
Yeah, it is. It is
Why? It
interesting.
doesn't even
It's
make sense.
pick a wizard that is bound to an endless spell, kill them. Essentially, is what that
Right.
reads.
Right. I don't understand why. Like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah, there will be probably, my guess is 60 to 70% of your games just won't even use this.
right. So now you have 2 and 3 are probably going to stay on the shelf.
Yes.
So
Yep.
there's a quarter of, even if you are playing with
Right.
the wizards.
Yep. Because this only worries about your enemy. So you can't build for this. You have to hope your opponent did for you.
Uh, and once again, this is lasting for a year. Don't forget that, everybody.
Yeah.
Conquest, great time to get in. Magical dominance. You complete
Which
this
is
battle tactic at the end of your turn if a friendly wizard unit successfully casts one or more spell and none of the spells cast by any units in your army were unbound.
okay. So let me tell you how this reads. Turn one, you had higher drops. You were told you have to go first. Normally, you start outside of 30 inches of your opponent. You pick a spell
Right.
that you can get off. I forget which one's cheaper, if it's Arcane Bolt or Arcane Shield. You cast it. You don't cast anything else.
right. You just get the one and you move on.
Right.
Again, stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
You have to have a spellcaster in your army. If you don't have access to them, you can't get it.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Magical mayhem. So magical mayhem
Oh.
has already become a little meme between me and Neil.
Oh.
Because every time there was nothing to choose, we
You
would just
pick
choose
Magical Mayhem. Yep.
So pick one enemy unit on the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic if that unit is destroyed by damage inflicted by a spell or the abilities of an endless spell.
So if you are a good spellcasting army, you're very happy and you'll take this every time. If you're not, this will be exactly what you said.
If there is an army, not if, but for
Yeah,
the armies
Zinch.
that can do that one, I don't want to fight that army.
Right. Yeah. Zinch, some of our death armies, especially if you're running like Ark in the Black or something like that. Yeah, pretty good.
Bait and trap. You complete the spell tactic if 2 or more friendly units retreated this turn and 2 or more different friendly units made a charge move this turn. Why?
Yeah,
Who
the
gives a shit?
wording is very odd, and you have to start with 2 units in combat.
Why does it have
So
to be
like,
2? Like, couldn't it just be 1?
I don't even know why you have to do. I could be okay with 1 retreat and 2 charge. This 2 retreat thing, I think, is very difficult because most of the time in Age of Sigmar these days, if you made a charge, someone's dying,
Right.
which is gonna be why I'm upset about the next one. But yeah,
Led into the Maelstrom. You complete the spell tactic if 1 or more friendly heroes and 1 or more friendly battle line units each made a charge move this turn, and at least one of those units are within 3 inches of an enemy unit at the end of the turn. So, did you get into combat with 2 units? Yes. Did you do your job and killed that unit? No, you win.
yes, right. That's the thing. If the enemy unit is still there, you get these points,
Right.
and probably your teeth kicked in next turn.
Now, at the same
But
point, though, I'm happy with that, looking at my Stormcast, because I would
you're
like to pin
defensive,
units,
right,
and I'm never going to kill anything.
right. Okay.
And then I thought this one was kind of dumb, too. But
Yeah, this is a difficult one for a lot of
it's
armies, I think.
doable for KO.
Yes, KO should be able to just do this.
Yeah, if
Could do
you're
it turn one.
kind of shitty about it, because pick 3 different friendly units on the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic if at the end of your turn, if each of those units is wholly within 6 inches of a different battlefield edge and 2 or more of those units are wholly outside your territory. So you can just
Yeah.
like shoot one boat into a table edge, fly high the other one into a corner.
Yep.
There you go.
And get one into
I think
just
the
your
whole
own back
the
line.
wholly within 6 inches of a different table edge. That I would like to see an FAQ stating if that means you basically have a void zone, like a 6-inch square out of the corner.
See, what I think is you could probably sit in a corner like what you're saying and count as being a part of one or the other. Like you determined, I'll be a part of this one instead of that one.
Right.
Big thing is, I think what this is telling you to do is you have to be in 3 different sides.
Right. Which is just not going to happen.
That for a lot of armies that don't have the movement while someone's trying to kill them to do that.
Yeah, so let's see here. So let's go. Where are the dumb rules? Okay, so for this one we have for this season we have, like we said, magic casters. Of course, you can't be special, can't be unique, can't be magical, can't be happy, can't be anything good. So if you have a shitty wizard that can't do anything but cast magic missile,
One's characteristic, 9 or less, not unique.
Guess what?
He's can be mounted.
Antorian Locust now.
Yep.
Ooh, you're gonna win. So at the start of the battle round, after priority is determined, the player taking the second turn can pick one friendly hero on the battlefield. That hero is an Antorian.
If they are, and
Antorian.
Antorian,
Don't
yeah.
put a D next to a T, you jackasses. They can attempt to cast one extra spell and attempt to unbind one extra spell in that battle round. If they are not an Andorian Locust, you receive 1 command point. Oh, I keep forgetting about that. If they're not an Andorian Locust, you can receive 1 command point that can only be spent to allow that hero to issue a command.
So you can automatically make yourself a command point if you go second.
I feel like it would have been nice if you picked that and it didn't qualify as a Andorian Locust if it instead gave the ability to unbind one.
That could be interesting. Yeah. That you could unbind an endless spell or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Something.
Yep.
Then we also get Primal Magic, which is
the part that's going to be interesting, and I think it's going to propel a lot of.
You need 4 paragraphs. Back to, technically 4.5, but okay, so hang in, we're doing...
Just lock yourselves in here, boys and girls. I'm getting myself a drink here.
At the start of the hero phase, both players roll a die. It can be separate dice, by the way. You don't have to roll the same one. For each 4+, each player receives 2 primal magic dice. After a player attempts to cast or unbind a spell, or after a player attempts to dispel an endless spell, they can roll one of their primal magic dice. If they do so, add the result to the casting, unbinding, or dispelling roll. That player can continue to roll additional primal dice until the caster suffers a primal miscast, see below, or there are no more primal magic dice to be rolled. Abilities that allow you to re-roll casting, unbinding, or dispelling rolls must be used before primal magic dice are rolled. So remember that, people going to NashCon. I'll call you on it, because I'll be like, we said it on the show.
Yep.
You had 3 weeks to watch.
I mean, the next sentence should also be something that should stop them as well.
Yes. Although I lost my place. If you choose to... if you choose to use an ability to re-roll a casting, unbinding, or dispelling roll, you cannot use primal magic dice to supplement that roll. At the end of each battle round, any primal magic dice that have not been used are lost. Huh.
So if I decide I want to re-roll it, I can't primal magic that re-roll.
Right. But that seems like weird. That seems like a weird place to tuck in that they go away at the end of each battle round.
I don't disagree. That is an odd spot to put it.
Well, because like I was watching a couple other people saying, huh, I guess it doesn't go away.
Well, there you go.
So it does go away. Additionally, it doesn't say that I'm ad-libbing at that point.
Right.
When a primal magic dice is rolled as part of a casting roll on an unmodified casting roll that includes a double one, the caster suffers a primal miscast instead of a miscast. The spell is not successfully cast. The caster suffers D3 plus 3 mortal wounds, and
Yep.
each other unit within 3 inches of the caster suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, the caster cannot attempt to cast any more spells in that phase. When a primal magic dice is rolled as part of a casting roll on an unmodified casting roll that includes double six, the spell is successfully cast and cannot be unbound. In addition, the caster cannot attempt to cast any more spells in that phase, and both players receive 1 primal magic dice.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Boy, that just has so many.
Essentially, if you roll your magic dice and you get a 1 and a 5, throw 1 more dice at it because probabl magic. You go, oh no, that's a 1. Things go very bad for you. If you've got a 6 in there, it goes much better.
Yeah. Personally, I would have liked to have seen if you use your primal and there's a double other than double 6, you miscast. And if you roll the double 1, then it's the D3 plus 3.
That's interesting. Yeah. That makes these a lot more difficult to use.
Right. Because like I said, I mean, it's magic has come a long way since the last time I played an army that uses magic. Whenever I started, it was like,
yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Oh, would you like +1 to your save? I can help
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Now it's like, take your opponent's army, whip it against the wall.
Are you playing Nagash? He's going to really cast that hand of dust.
So, one thing I think is really clever is the Nullstone adornments. Previously, there's been like something that you get on top of being, your thing. This is the opposite. If you don't have a priest or a wizard, you can choose one of these so you can still function in the game. So first is the choice everyone's going to go with, the hand-carved Nullstone icon. Essentially, you can unbind a spell, and if you unbind it, then you can unbind another spell and keep going.
Yep.
Pouch of Gnome Dust. This is the fun one. My first game, I took it.
Yeah.
First turn, I used it. Oh, yeah. First turn, I took it. First turn, I used it. First turn, I got it.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Good for you. Because this is the one I would have just thrown away.
It's so much fun. Like, I mean, imagine putting that against a Tzeentch or a Seraphon when you're like...
Right. You do have a moment where you're like, okay, I've scared you right now.
Now, this could have easily been resolved if you roll 4 or lower.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of like break it from just double 1 and now all of a sudden 4 or lower. So if you get a double 2 or lower, you're in trouble.
Yep.
And then of course we have the polished Nullstone Pebble, which is, in my opinion, bleh. It's the you ignore spell effects.
Right. I think if you have, for whatever reason, some sort of unit that you think needs to be that beat stick, or that you need to keep it around for whatever buffs it's giving off, it might actually be worth it if you've got the extra artifact for this.
You get one for free. I mean, like I said, I just know for a fact that because it's a 4-up, you ignore it. I know for a fact,
right?
As soon as
you'll fail.
Never going to see that 4.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, to be fair, I also know I'm never going to dispel a goddamn thing.
Right.
If that could be, if that could
You just
be dispel with a bonus equal to the number of primal dice you have, now we're talking.
It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I like that idea.
So they also gave us some spells that are, woof. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Hoarfrost. I don't know if we're allowed to say that anymore, but
Yeah.
Hoarfrost is a spell that has a casting value of 8 and a range of 12. If successfully cast, pick one friendly unit wholly within range and visible to the caster. Pick one melee weapon profile on that unit's war scroll and roll a d3. Uh, Change the 2 hit, 2 wound, or rend characteristic of that melee weapon to match the results until the start of your next hero phase. For example, if the result was a 2, you could change either the 2 hit characteristic of +2 and the 2 wound characteristic to +2, or the rend characteristic to -2.
That is a very interesting spell. I mean, the cast value is high, but I think all these are high just because of the addition of primal magic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it actually might have a place, especially if you're running some sort of battle line and you could buff them up that
Zombie.
you're. Yeah, just imagine your zombies have rend 3 for a turn.
Or I was just going to say, hit on 2s and 2s.
Or hit on 2s. Yeah.
Man,
That's pretty mean too. That's pretty mean too.
Here's my 280 or 180 attacks coming at you. 2s and 2s.
Right.
Don't worry. Rend nothing.
Yeah. The majority of the time with this spell, because ones will always fail, 2 of the possibilities here just give you a to hit or a to wound of 2 up on whatever ability it is you're using now in melee.
Yeah, exactly. You have a.
And the sad chance you roll a 3, well, I guess I'll just make something rend 3.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you roll like it seems a little too much to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would have rather seen the D3 just go in and like be. I don't know what you can do with D3, man. That's
Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
That's nuts.
So it's going to be interesting.
We have Rupture,
which you probably won't take because you don't know if your opponent is going to have these things.
Right. Rupture is a spell that has a casting value of 10, which you can go fuck yourself.
They're expecting to use those primal dice.
Do I look like a techless to you? That's
Yeah.
If successfully cast, pick one predatory endless spell or one incarnate wholly within range and visible to the caster. The target immediately becomes wild and cannot be picked to be controlled or bonded for the rest of that battle. Now, I will say, you do that against an incarnate, turn
if
1.
you can do that early, yeah. You are a very evil person, and that is great, but I'm not going to take this spell to begin with, so I won't get that chance.
But you have to be within 18 inches.
Right. Difficult. Very difficult.
You have to be within 18 inches and not the closest unit. Because the incarnate also gets to move first before it has to charge the closest unit.
So a big thing is that it treats everything as being an enemy. So if it's in someone's lines, whenever it goes wild, it's in combat.
Yes.
And it has an aura that says you cannot flee or you cannot fall back from combat. So you just lock the incarnate there.
And lastly, we have Merciless Blizzard. I'm sorry, did you have something else you want to say about it?
No, go ahead. Merciless Blizzard is
another casting value of 12.
Yep.
Boy, there was a lot of fellatio in the office when they came up with this one. 12-inch range. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. That unit suffers 4d6 mortal wounds for each roll of 1.
But for each roll of 1.
Hey.
It's okay. I got you.
Bring it on, baby. I'll fucking take down. I'll take down the whole lot.
Well, here's the thing. If you are Zinch, you're probably... There's a chance you just take this spell on a keeper. Oh, you can't take it on a keeper. Okay.
I'll just give yourself a little, like a thaumaturge or something.
Yeah, you take this, you throw all your primal dice at it, and you're just blowing stuff up left and right with this.
Now, the caster does take D3 mortal wounds, cannot be negated.
If
The
you
range of
roll
the
one,
spell cannot
just
be
roll
modified
once.
and must be measured from the caster, even if the ability would allow you to measure from it elsewhere.
Yes, very smart. Very smart keeping the portals from actually ripping people apart.
I don't really care about the command traits. They're fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
Or
don't even
battalions are
remember them
dumb.
now. So, battalions are dumb.
You're not going to see them.
Just,
Grand
you might.
strategies. It's where they let the idiot that came up with the hats back in to write some rules.
Oh, yeah. All I can say is I really hope that your book has a good grand strategy. Or you're a heavy wizard army.
It's so
Even
dumb.
That,
like,
it's difficult.
In my opinion, the grand strategy should be something that is not revolving around how you're doing in the battle.
Mhm.
I don't know. So, anyways,
Yeah.
control the Nexus. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy. If 2 or more friendly wizards are wholly within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield.
Right. So.
Now, I will restate this does not say Andorian Locust or
Right.
Wizards.
It just says wizard.
Right.
Yeah.
So put.
Which is good.
Yeah.
However, hope you at least had 2 wizards to start with, and your opponent did not kill them.
Right.
Something they want to do in this edition.
Right. Here's a GHB. What do you want me to do? Kill all the wizards. What do you want me to do? Survive with your wizards. Like, come on, guys. Spell casting Savant. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if the model picked to be your general is an Andorian Locust and that unit has not been slain.
So, same idea. Keep your general alive, who is also a tiny wizard.
Right. I guess. I mean, if you go with a Knight Incarnate and keep him in the back, so you can just keep doing Starfall or whatever the hell it is.
I guess. Yeah.
Slaughter of Sorcery. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there's no wizard units on the battlefield.
So you did not take any wizard units, and sometimes you just get lucky and you'll get put against someone with 1 or 2, and you just have to kill those.
Right.
It's okay. But you also have to take no wizards. Otherwise, you got to get yours killed at some point.
Exactly. Like, why couldn't it just be like, even if this said no enemy wizards, I wouldn't take it. But no wizards.
But it would feel better. Yeah.
Stupid. Like, how is it like? I don't understand. How is that a grand? Your grand strategy was like to kill your own guys.
If it has to be, yeah. I mean, obviously, with the wording here, slaughter or sorcery, they're like, this is a corn thing because they have no wizards. So now I'll just make it be no wizards.
Then put it in their book, not ours.
If you're playing one of those armies, you're probably going to take this one.
Baron Icecape. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if all enemy units that have artifacts of power are destroyed and there are no enemy units within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield. Like, it's very
the 2 clause part is very difficult. Yeah.
Overshadow. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if all enemy battle line units from your opponent's starting army are destroyed, and there are at least 3 friendly battle line. There's at least 1 friendly battle line from your starting army on the battlefield.
This is one you can build for, but you cannot hope that your opponent also doesn't build for it because of a crap ton of battle line you can't kill.
Yeah, this could maybe be like a real nice Nurgle army or Orc army.
Yeah.
Magic Made Manifest. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are 2 or more endless spells or incarnates on the battlefield that are controlled by or bonded to friendly units.
Yeah. So, very difficult. This is more keep wizards alive. You have to have 2 wizards alive or a wizard incarnate. Yep. And your end of spell had to have gone off and stayed up.
Or bring an incarnate and a spell in a bottle.
And just wait till the end.
Wait till the end. Just be like, I don't know, Palisade.
Yeah, Prismatic Palisade. Who's going to try and stop that one, right?
Okay, so here we got battle plans.
Yeah.
Overall, I think they're weird, but so far they're okay.
Okay. I will be honest. I haven't read through all of these yet.
There's one that I'm
So
not a huge fan of.
okay,
So here we have. What is that focus
there you
in?
are.
Yeah, so we got just the standard across the line. This is called Geomantic Pulse. Um, is this the one I don't like? This might be the one I don't like. So the standard victories, you know, 1, 2, and more.
Yep.
Um,
Battle tactic for 2. Grand strat. What is the pulse at the
yeah,
start of the
so
second battle
score
round?
2 victory points if you control the pulse. Oh, I'm sorry. Score 1 victory point if you control at least one objective. Score 2 if you control the pulse. Score
Uh,
1 if you victory point
for
for each objective adjacent to the pulse. Then 2 for your battle tactic. So the pulse at
okay.
the start of the second battle round, after determining which player will take the first turn, the player taking second turn picks either objective A or objective B to be the pulse. And if you saw, it's
One of the
A,
edges.
A
Yep.
and B. So, uh, at the start of each subsequent battle round, the objective adjacent to the pulse that has not yet been the pulse becomes the pulse. Only one objective can be the pulse per battle round. They need to say pulse about 4 more times in there.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So basically, the second battle round, one of them pulses, and then it just goes.
Right.
I guess. Hold on.
No. I think it's opposite sides
At
then.
the start of each subsequent battle round, the objective adjacent to the pulse that
Oh
has
yeah.
not yet been the pulse becomes the pulse.
Yep. So it just slowly slides across.
Boy, I'll tell you what, this is dumb shit that I would come up with. And everyone would be like, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? All right, so next we got
It's
the
gonna be an
Nexus
interesting
Collapse,
one.
where we have too many objectives. Yay!
Ooh, 6 objectives on the table. Oof.
So for this, 1 victory point if you have 1 objective, 1 victory point if you have 2 objectives, 1 if you have more than your opponent, and 2 for battle tactic. Which I
Yep.
feel like they need to start spicing that up a little bit.
I kind of like how simple it is that you know it'll
Give me
be
3
that.
points just once. Just once. So instability at the start of each battle round after the first, after determining which player will take the first turn, the player with the fewest victory points can choose to collapse up to 2 objectives. If both players are tied on victory points, the players roll off and the winner can choose to collapse 1 objective. Roll a dice for each unit within 6 inches of any collapsed objectives. On a 4+, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Once all rolls have been made for those units, remove all collapsed objectives from the battlefield. This is the one I don't like.
Yeah, this is a weird one because it says, hey, turn 1, don't score.
Right.
So smack someone with these mortal wounds you're going to do.
It is a massive, massive hindrance for KO.
Yeah.
Because you basically either have to get something out of the boat that doesn't want to be out of the boat, or you have to score with the boat and hope that you're losing.
Mm-hmm.
So you could choose to collapse something other than the thing that your entire army is sitting on.
Jeez.
So up next we have lines of communication. Pretty similar. 3 objectives. Yeah. So this is score 1 if you have 1, score 1 if you have 2, score 1 if you have more, and 2 for battle tactic.
Right.
For this, you have disruption at the start of each battle round. After determining which player will take the first turn, the player taking the second turn can pick a phase to disrupt, e.g., the hero phase. During that, oh my dear God.
Yeah.
During that battle round, each time a model in their opponent's army issues a command in that phase, their opponent must roll a die. On a 3+, an additional command point must be spent in order to issue that command. Their opponent can choose whether or not to spend the additional command point. I'm so glad they added that in there. If they choose not to spend an additional command point, the command is not received. The command ability still counts as being issued, though.
Right.
And the command point that was spent to issue that command is lost.
Right.
So,
know. Pretty big. I think it might be a little too much power for the second player.
Yes.
But it'll be interesting to see.
We need to go back to the last one where it was whoever's losing gets that power. You got every step is forward.
So this is an interesting one.
I played this one. This one is very bizarre.
Okay.
You score 1 if you have 1, 1 for 2, and 1 for more, and 2 for battle tactic. Essentially, what it boils down to: if you charge, all models have count as an additional model when capturing an objective. If they retreated, they count as nothing, and they cannot capture objectives.
It's very interesting.
It is very interesting.
As a Deepkin player with the ability to retreat and then charge, knowing that unit now does nothing. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess you would just, or maybe if you did both, everything would count as 1.
Well, I don't think so, because it's not that it's -1 +1. It just says if a unit retreats until the end of the turn, cannot do objectives. So, yeah.
That's what you get being a coward. All right, so now we have limited resources. Yeah. You made a grid for a reason, GW.
No, we don't want to follow it. Look, it's at halfway through, so you should figure out what that half means. Okay.
I can, yes. So 1 point for having 1, 1 for 2, and 1 for more, 2 for battle tactic. Then you have siphon meltwater. Siphon
meltwater. Yep. So we're siphoning the snow melt.
When a player gains control of an objective, they start to siphon meltwater from it. After scoring victory points, if the player whose turn it is controls an objective that they controlled at the end of their previous turn, they have siphoned all of the meltwater from that objective. For the rest of the battle, that player cannot control that objective. So,
so if you do well, grab something and hold on to it, you now can no longer score it.
It's a weird one. I think I'd rather them just say each point can only issue 2 command or 2 victory points.
That'd be interesting.
For 2 rounds. It's not the end of the world. I mean, there's 6, so just move on.
I guess, but you got to push through your opponent at some point to get to what's behind them.
Just go over there and slap them around a little bit.
Oh, I think of that.
Just IRL.
Yep.
And then again, my favorite deployment type where they scrunch you all in the middle.
Oh, yes.
The trap.
All the mass-bodied armies out there really enjoy this.
Yeah, all the mass-bodied, and then also all of the fragile elite models. That's what you want. So again, just like everything else, 1 for 1, 1 for 2, 1 for more, and 2 for battle tactic. Outflank during deployment after both players have set up their units, starting with the attacker. Each player can remove D3 units from the battlefield. Roll once for both players. Roll one for both players. That's good to know. And place those units in reserve, starting from the second battle round. At the end of your movement phase, you could set up those units you placed in reserve, wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge, and more than 9 inches away from all enemy units. Seems entirely unnecessary.
Yeah, I really don't know if I'm going to want to do that, if I'm honest with you. Some armies will, some won't, but I don't know.
I think it'd be funny if you're Stormcast and you only have 3 models or 3 units on the table and you roll a D3. Just whatever you want to do with the board. I
mean, it's can remove. You don't have to.
Yes. All right. right, so we are. Let's see, we're on table 2. We
Yep.
have Fountains of Frost. Let me get that.
Fountains of Frost.
Yeah, we got 6. So.
1, 2 more.
Yep, 1, 2 more. And then we have the Geysers of Primal Magic.
Yep. Those
Dorian
foot
Locust
wizards.
Count as 10 for the purpose of contesting objectives. At the start of each battle shock phase, roll a die for each objective that is contested by 3 or more units. When is that happen?
If you're really fighting over it tooth and nail,
Yeah,
the big thing is early game,
right?
where you accidentally do that to yourself.
Oh yeah. On a 4+, each unit contesting that objective suffers D3 mortal wounds. Roll separately for each unit. Like,
Yeah.
that's just dumb. That's really dumb. They're like,
Yep.
they could have gone to a lot of different places with that. Like, they could have been like, if an Andorian Locust, like, I wouldn't like it, but they could do like an Andorian Locust if in the hero phase they're contesting an objective or controlling an objective, they get reroll cast or
Right. They get a bonus of some sort because they're on a Geyser or a
you can roll your primal dice twice, like to see if you get a primal dice.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be a fun one.
I don't know, man. What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
The ice fields.
It's obviously the first time you're looking at this one too.
Yes. I looked at the ones for NashCon and then I moved on. All right.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. 1, 2 more.
Yep.
Okay, so Iron. Hold on. There's weird. Okay. Each time a unit runs,
Ugh,
it suffers
I hate
D3
this.
mortal wounds.
Yeah. I hate
When
this.
you make a charge roll
fast-moving
for a
army.
unit, roll each dice that shows a 1 before modifiers are applied. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds.
So if you roll double ones for your charge, you take 2d3 mortals. Insult to injury.
Well,
Or injury to the
most
insult.
of us aren't elves and we don't have that ability, so
Well, no, everyone can charge.
not
So
running charge.
True, but if you just charge and both dice are ones,
Yes,
you take 2d3.
right, and you don't.
Sorry, you failed to charge.
See,
And now you're taking 2d3.
I kind of thought they were going like a different direction, where like you're on ice, and if like you run,
Right.
if you roll a 6, roll again, go that much more.
Oh, that could be interesting. I like the idea of if you roll the dice twice, take the lower of the 2 or something.
Roll. So, so you roll the dice. You get to move that far. If you roll a 6, roll again. Your opponent's move. You the additional.
Oh, there we go. The additional movement your opponent moves you. I like that.
Power flux. Bing.
Nice.
This is boy. Okay. Score 1 victory point if you control at least 1 activated objective.
Yep.
Score 1 victory point if you control both activated objectives. Score 1 victory point for each activated objective you control that is contested by a friendly Andorian Locust that has no enemy Andorian Locust units contesting it.
Yeah.
I'm not done. Score 1 victory point if any enemy wizard units were destroyed in the battle round. And then score 2 if you have the battle tactic. Wow,
Yeah.
that could have just... They could have stopped.
Player taking the second turn determines if A or B will be active for the battle round.
And
Okay.
Just for everyone's knowledge, what they did is they went A and B's. There.
Yeah. So we're going to fight the long table edge, or are we going to fight the short? And round 1, if I pick A's, we both score minimal unless you charge in and take something.
Remember when our biggest complaint was the objective either moved down 3 inches or over 3 inches?
Oh, yes. Yes.
No, we're going to the other side of the table. We're now playing Longwise.
Yep.
All right, then we got the Frigid Zephyr. I think this is the one I was thinking of here.
Okay.
So this is 1/2 more.
Yep.
Um,
Ferocious Squall.
At the start of the battle, the battlefield is affected by a squall in bold. So that's now a new rule.
Yep.
Until the squall dissipates, second time stated not bolded. So this is not
Right.
relating to the roll. This is just flavor text, I guess. Until more than 12 inch. Wait, sorry. Until the squall dissipates, units more than 12 inches apart are not visible to each other. In addition, until the squall dissipates, models cannot fly. Could
That's
you
very
please
interesting.
just say, "Fuck off, KO"?
Fire off KO, all my eels or
Right,
sharks or
right.
Leviathan, like a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. A lot of shooting armies get very upset. So yeah.
At the start of each battle round after the first, after determining which players will take the first turn, if the squall has not dissipated, the player taking the second turn rolls a die and adds the number of the current battle round to the score. On a 7+, the squall dissipates.
So it is possible to go the entire game and the squall not dissipate. If on battle round 5 you roll 1, it's still there.
Do they have like a QA? Like, there's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do that one.
I don't know. I mean, I think they kind of leave that up to tournament organizers. Like NashCon there, I told you, hey, these are the ones you got to worry about. We're throwing out the rest of these.
There's very few in here that are tournament worthy.
I kind of agree. This is probably the worst I've seen them do for
I guess
setting
some of
up.
these seem fun if you have an army specifically geared
To do something.
right.
Yeah.
Anyways, no risk without, or no reward without risk. You got another 5?
5.
1/2 more.
Yep. Feedback overload here.
No, you were going a little too far. Deployment.
What am I missing?
Well, I'm going to read it and you tell me what's missing. After the attacker picks which territory is their territory. The other territory is the defender's territory. The players then use alternating deployment, starting with the attacker. Each player must set up their units wholly within their territory.
So we don't have a how far away to be? Oh boy. Oh boy. So we're going to have the melee folk right on the corner, ready to charge
So
over.
Guess where I'm putting Gotrek.
Yeah. Wow. I missed that completely.
We'll see when the FAQ comes out.
Oof. Somebody missed typing in a sentence there.
Who knows? They might go, fuck it. There you go. There's one.
Oh.
Obviously the chest hair on the TO to put this
To fight that.
put
Yeah.
this one on. Yeah, no risk, no reward without risk, as written in the GHB.
Ooh.
All right, feedback overload. When a wizard is slain before Jesus Christ, when a wizard is slain before removing that model from play, roll a die. On a 4+, the wizard explodes as their magical energies are released uncontrollably. Each unit within a number of inches equal to the wound characteristic of the wizard suffers D3 mortal wounds.
So if you kill Teclis, you got a decent bubble there that's going to take wounds.
I'm taking Sacrosanct, man. That's
Oh.
sure. Why not? You know, sometimes these are so bad that it comes all the way back around to the I'm interested. Put it. Go ahead.
The fun bit is pink horrors.
Yeah.
When they start dying.
Right. Again, like there's a couple units that are wizards, and there's the only one that I can think of that actually thought ahead was the Lumineth that have your
A
head
one,
guy is the
yeah,
wizard.
they say which guy the wizard is. Yeah.
Right. So we're moving right along here. I was kind of interested. I kind of want to play this one. I don't know if it's going to be good for a tournament, but we have towers in the tundra. So we got 2 points that are towers,
Yeah.
not Age of Sigmar or not 40k towers. You don't have to worry about that.
Right.
All right. No
Right.
towering here. So you score 1 victory point if you control at least 1 objective. Score 1 victory point if you control both objectives. 2 for battle tactics, and then it continues. Each player scores victory points at the end of the battle as follows. Score 2 victory points if friendly units are garrisoning the wizard's tower in your territory, which is a weird thing to say because they're both in your territory. So maybe I missed something in the plan. We'll check. If your starting army did not include any units that could garrison a terrain feature, score 2 victory points if you control the wizard's tower in your territory instead. Score 2 victory points if there are no units garrisoned the wizard tower in enemy territory. So let's look up Battlefield real quick. The defenders set up the battlefield. First, they set up objectives. Oh, maybe the objectives. Maybe that's it. There's. Yeah.
Oh, at least one defensible terrain feature
Yeah.
that is neither large nor very large must be set up wholly. Okay. Okay.
So basically, there has to be a tower somewhere.
Somewhere. Okay, very interesting. So those 2 objectives actually don't mean anything at the end of the battle. It's just a few at the end, hurry up and run back into your tower.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, interesting.
It's something. I agree. Not a tournament play thing. Got to make sure you have
towers.
Every table with 2 of these, and that your train doesn't get moved throughout the event.
And that was it.
Cool.
Last one. We did it. We did them all.
That, sadly, I think is worse than the last GHB.
Well, I mean, here's the problem. Is like I kind of knew it before I saw anything about it, just for the simple fact that looking at the meta list, if you are a heavy casting army, you're on top.
You probably do well anyway. Yeah.
Right. So all they're going to do is buff the people who are at the top, and I don't know. I've heard some people say that there's too much incentive to go like dispelling and unbinding, but it's like there's very few units that are
that good at dispelling and unbinding. Yeah. Yeah. And sadly, Cities is going to, well, is the Rune Priest still going to be a thing?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't on the list.
Right. So we'll still have a Rune Priest. So if you're playing the new Cities, you'll be taking him if they come out in time.
Well, I'll tell you, like, that's whenever I was building my KO list for NashCon, I was like, oh, can I fit in a Rune Lord?
Right. Yeah.
Can I fit in 2 Rune Lord? But the problem is again, they don't go on the boats.
Right. They don't go on the boats. They don't buff any of your own units.
Right. So if they could do that, like if it said Dwarden, and if they could get on boats, or even if going Barrack Thring let them go on boats, I probably would squeeze it in.
Yeah.
But the way it is now, it's just like, just throw him on the table and just have a little lonely boy just all by himself.
Just hanging out there ready to dispel.
Does anyone want to know about Krogny? So we'll see.
Very interesting. We will see how it plays out. I know there were a couple events over last weekend. I didn't really get the chance to look at results or hear what people were saying about them yet. I think NashCon is going to be the first big tournament I know of playing with this. So, be interesting to see.
From the Honest Wargamer
Yeah.
stats. It seems primarily the suspects you would expect.
Are doing well. Yeah.
Tzeentch, Soulblight, Seraphon.
Yep.
They're
Makes sense.
yeah, they're somehow surviving.
They're enjoying it. Yeah. They're enjoying it. Makes sense. I would expect no less.
Yeah, I I think I give this General's Handbook. I think I'll give it a C plus.
C plus. Okay. Okay.
Which again, I gave the last General's Handbook a B minus.
Okay.
So
And I think in their difference, I would give you that. I think I liked the last one because more armies had access
Right.
to the scoring abilities that were present. This it feels like you don't always, and a lot of like the battle tactics you're looking at, like, I hope I don't have to do that one. Or what if it showed up, decided not to bring X or Y?
Right.
So,
right,
interesting.
That's kind of what. Again, it keeps going back to the same thing. Like, where my issue is the core principles and the design philosophy for these GHBs. Like,
Mhm.
you aren't creating armies that are equal across the board for these.
Yeah.
So whenever you're balancing them, you're not balancing them with the GHBs in place.
Mhm.
You're balancing these armies without GHBs, which are already doing poorly.
Right.
And again, I'm not talking about perfect balance. I'm just talking about
Semblance of trying. Yeah.
you know,
This is too complex of a game, I think, to ever get that perfect balance. But if you could have everyone to within 10 percentage points of each other,
yeah,
you've done an amazing job. Yeah.
right. And again, like I said, I mean, I think to me, I think my idea of balance is whenever you have, assuming that it's not such a like a rock paper scissors situation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's scissors versus Spock. No,
Right.
do it again.
Yeah.
If you have the lowest and the highest, and it's not decided before the models are on the table.
Right. If there could be a game because the two players matter,
right?
I think that's a very good and interesting game. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't think AOS was there prior to this GHB, and I definitely don't think they're there now.
I think it was there closer in the last GHB.
Yeah, I'll say it was close. It was close.
I think it was about as close as we could have ever gotten. But there were still some haves and haves nots. Right. I'll give you that.
Right. And that's, again,
there's some FAQs that were needed for some of the armies to make them in. Like Suns needed their own FAQ of how they could compete in that meta.
Yeah, like I said, they need to remember that they came out with that army.
Right.
Because these are just, it's honestly since they left the first GHB where it was monster focused.
Oh, monsters, yeah.
It's just been downhill for them.
Yeah. No, I agree for the most part. I think what we need to do is once we're done with 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar, we need to sit down and do a tier list of GHBs for 3rd edition. Talked about what we liked and didn't like, because honestly, for me, first I think might be the best. Right. Just because I really love the concept. It was amazing. We got to play with monsters for the first time in basically all Age of Sigmar, it felt like. The last one may have been 2nd place for me, with the second one that came out being so far in 3rd. We'll see how this one pans out after I play some games with it.
Honestly, I mean, the writing is on the wall already. This is the last chance we were getting of the objective of the edition. I think you're absolutely right. It goes monster, hero, wizard, bounty hunters.
Oh, I don't know. I think bounty hunters might be better than wizard. Personally, I enjoyed the bounty hunter era.
Yeah, of course you did, because you got to benefit from it.
Right. Well, yeah.
But again, like, to me, still, bounty hunters, whoever came up with bounty hunters should be branded and marched through the streets. Like,
not a fan. You heard it here first.
So even if I would have had an army, like, I mean, I just played Suns whenever I had to play during that GHB, and I just ignored the whole thing.
Right.
But, like, whoever came up with bounty hunters, like there was just no thought involved at all.
Right.
It was just doubling your damage. Well, not doubling, but
Right.
plus 1 damage against what is arguably the weakest unit in someone else's army.
Right. Yep. I forget. That was at NashCon last year. I played against a Giants player during that time.
Yeah.
And they actually took a bunch of Mega Gargants to give them Bounty Hunter. Just to go through.
Oh, the little boys.
Yeah, the little boys. Yeah. Yep. The little ones. This is very interesting.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing was just. Yeah, it was.
That's okay. We can agree to disagree for who's third and fourth in my mind. As long as we agree in 1 and 2, I'm good.
Well, so again, in my opinion, there is a difference between what's enjoyable and what's
right.
smart game design.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Because like I said, I mean that one, the towers, that's not really smart game design, but it sounds like it could be fun to play.
Right. If you just want to sit down, have a beer and pretzels game with your buddy, that's probably a fun one to just hang out and play.
Right. Now,
do
I want a GHB about garrisoning? No, I don't want.
No.
Well,
no. KO make me worry about garrison rules enough.
Maybe I do want a garrison GHB.
There we go.
Oh, don't worry. The Oathbreakers will be out by then, and so will Grugny's Reclaimers. So.
Oh, there we go. They're just going to build the defenses while you're playing the game.
So the first time I made Grugny's Reclaimers, that was one of the units I made, was the engineers, where they would literally just get in terrain and then build it up every turn they were in it.
There we go. It just builds up its save.
After 3 rounds, they got to put in a battery ordnance.
Oh my, that could be entertaining.
Yeah, like I said, it was. I looking back at it, it was a very fun unit that I put together, but it was. No, it wasn't. It was not tabletop.
It was not balanced. Yeah.
I mean, if you can't remove a unit that has 5-up save.
Right. I mean, the big thing is, for something like that, you just sit it back at table, right?
Exactly. But yeah, like I said, I think that's. Yeah, I think there's obviously some wiggle room, but at the end of the day, I think it's pretty set in stone. Of this, the longest lasting one is on the underside of.
Yeah.
Under the 50%.
It's too bad that they couldn't be like, hey, instead of making this last a full year, we're going to go back to the first one for the last 6 months. For all of you who've picked up Age of Sigmar over these years and missed it,
well,
here you go.
How would you fix? Like, how would you do a wizard-focused GHB?
So I think first off, I would include priests.
Okay.
Into that whole wizard bubble, simply because if you don't have a wizard, you probably have a priest in your army. Sad part is that you still have the issue of the wizards will still be a little bit stronger from the primal dice. Perhaps instead of the primal dice, we do that everyone has better control of everything. Mm-hmm. So everyone just gets built-in rerolls instead of the bonuses. So that could be very interesting. But that still helps wizards quite a bit. It also helps the priests out because, okay, I rolled the 1 on my 1 dice. Let me re-roll that. That helps out. So I think that's something more that I would be trying to do. And I think I'd make less battle tactics, just rely on the opponent having brought a wizard with endless spells and an incarnate.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, for me personally, I would just say...
Like, the reason I liked the last GHB is because there were 4 battle tactics at every single game I was probably going to take and try and get.
Right.
With a 5th one that I was going to have to fight for and find a way to get.
Right.
And I was cool with that because that's the variance in the game that I'll be playing with my opponent.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think for me what I would probably do is I would probably do it so... as opposed to like that thing where you had to like choose which one is your enduring. No, you can choose. You can elect to make one of your wizards an Endorian Locust as long as they're not unique, and as long as they're not 25 wounds or whatever the hell. I think
Right.
I think this 9 wound thing may have flown in like early second edition, but we're in high damage times, and if you want to have a 15 wound wizard, I guarantee it's not going
Right.
to
I'm
work.
still going to kill it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think like 15 or 14 wounds or lower.
Yep.
And if you don't have a wizard, your general becomes a wizard.
There we go.
He's now
Yeah.
an Andorian Locust.
Now has Arcane Tome built in.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There you go. You want to solve the Arcane Tome issue? Give everyone an Arcane Tome.
Right. If you have no wizard,
Or priest.
you now have a wizard or priest. Yeah. Arcane Tome up somebody.
Right.
Yep.
And then if you have a priest, you pick one of your priests. That priest can now dispel with a bonus.
Yeah. Okay with that.
Done. And then go back to
There
what I
we
said
go.
earlier. You get a bonus to your dispel equal to your number of primal dice that you have.
Yeah. Just for the priest. Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. And then just because again, honestly, I have no problem with the primal dice. I think
No, I mean, so I do a little bit just because there are some things that are difficult to cast, and I think they should be difficult to cast.
true.
So,
But
like,
again, your opponent, if you get a primal dice, your opponent has a primal dice that they can add to their dispel.
right, that's true. So you better make sure you still have dispels in your army.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think that's kind of my issues. I feel like they gave more access to dispel, but they didn't bolster dispel.
Right. Yep.
And I think they need to do something where, because again, most casters, like if you're, I think again, going, it's not most,
Mhm.
but like out of the units that are winning, or the armies that are winning, they all have bonus to casting.
Right.
Like there's Beast of Chaos isn't up there with their just
Mm,
raw
yeah.
casting rolls. But like Zinch is not going to be as successful as they are if they don't have plus this to plus that,
Right.
and then Destiny dice on top of all that. But so yeah, go with that change where if whenever you roll the primal dice, if there's a double other than 6, it's a miscast. If
Yep.
if the primal die and there's a magic die of 1, that is D3 plus 3. Hell, I'd even go old school fantasy and you forget the spell that you were trying to cast.
Ooh, really hit them hard with it. Yeah, you could do something pretty mean like that. Yeah.
And then, yeah, I love the idea of getting something on the opposite side. If you get double 6s, then you automatically cast the spell regardless of what was rolled. And, everyone gets a primal dice,
Yeah, it's a cool idea. It is odd that for the double 6s, if you do that early in, let's say, a 2 cast or 3 cast wizards thing, they're done cast.
It doesn't make any sense. If it was me, I
No,
would say,
like it worked so well. I'm done.
right. To me, it would be the other way around. It would be like add the turn number to your next roll if you have another.
This is something ridiculous.
Like,
Yeah.
You pulled so much magic in that it's currently a coat. Like
Right. Or just you pulled up so much in that it was also dangerous to you.
Yeah.
Double 6s, you auto cast, no one can dispel it, nothing can dispel it, but you take D3 mortal because you channeled a lot of powerful energy.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah.
Maybe just one more.
Maybe just flat 1.
Yeah.
I'm cool with flat 1. Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't know. I think it's an easy fix. I think it's an easy.
Yeah.
There's easy alternatives that make it a little bit. Like I said, just they need to figure out a way that whenever they come up with this stuff, that no matter the army, they always get to at least play in the playground, as opposed to, sorry, you have chicken pox, you have to wait till next GHB. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like the idea of this being a wizard one. I think they'd have made me feel a lot better about if they said priest as well.
Yeah.
Just that easy. I'd have been quiet because then a lot more armies. Khorne can participate in it. Fire Slayers get to participate in it.
Right.
I guess KO are still in the bad position, but
It's a bad
we got to figure something out for them. Yeah. We got to figure something out for them to begin with.
Next edition will be the edition where the other half of that army is going to drop. That's
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Glad you think that, buddy.
well, it's so funny. Like I have a buddy who he and I have been friends since the 3rd grade, and he's really into Magic and everything like that. He's the one that got me into D&D, so he's obligated to, even though he has no interest in playing Age of Sigmar, he's obligated.
He has to listen to that. Yeah,
he's obligated to know some of it because I'm going to talk to him about it. And like,
right.
I forget what I was talking to him about. Something, you know, I was like, whatever. After this army, I'm just going to play it out until 4th, and then I'll figure out what to go from there. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure this is the last time she's going to hit you, huh? Last time, right?
last time it's going to happen. Jeez, he knows you well.
And I'm like, yeah, we don't need to. I don't think we need to bring that up.
We don't need to remind me of my continued abusive relationship. Thanks.
Yeah, man, like I said, I mean, I feel bad. Like, everyone seems to be loving Age of Sigmar right now, and I just, like, it just feels like it's going, like, further and further away from what I enjoyed in 1st edition.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, like, I know you're really liking it, so I'm really glad about that.
Right. I'm enjoying the edition. I haven't gotten to play in a little while. But this GHB is going to be tough for me, I think, to enjoy, just because of the armies I play. Sadly.
Wizard? Or I guess he has too many.
Yes.
Two wounds.
Oh, for the the one, the Eidolon, he's got 12 wounds. So the only thing that you can have is the one caster on foot, the Tide caster.
So I got the name right. But
you
I got
did.
The wrong unit.
That's okay. That's why I was confused for a second, but you got the name right. Eidolon is the big guy. Tidecaster's a small one. She's only 6 wounds, so
just take.
And she's, you might have to, but no, I'll probably just take the one and we'll roll with that and see how it goes.
Yeah, I feel like I need to get into Tabletop Simulator more, and I just need to try
combinations and see.
The armies. Like, go find the meta list, just try them out, see what I like, because there has to be some sort of play style, because
it's got to be there somewhere.
There has to be something that resonates. Like, there has to be something that scratches that itch. Like, because again, like, whenever I play 40K and I play Custodes, I don't care if I lose.
Right.
You know, it's just I had a fun time because I got to have. Of course, I think they have their defense, like the wounds and defense are in the right place where it's like every guy you lose, you feel it, but you're not out of the fight.
Yeah.
And here in AOS, like I just think the damage is so high that sort of playstyle doesn't exist.
Right now in AOS, it's when I make this charge, I'm going to delete the thing I charged because I chose to go into it.
Right, but then like the issue is like because I chose one of the armies that has one of those units that can do that, and so like from my issue is like I go from the base where I go, okay, I'm kind of interested in this army. What can I do with this army? Okay, and it's like I just have terrible taste.
Look, you need to make Seraphon speak to you because they have units for every portion of the game.
Honestly, that is what I would really like is in 4th edition to just like start up Seraphon, and then that way I can do a super competitive, hard-nosed Starborn list, and then whenever I'm playing, like, you
just hanging out, you just here's some dinosaurs,
right. So, like I said, again, the plan is still set that whenever 4th edition comes, we're gonna wait a little bit for that first meta watch to come out, see where everyone falls, and whoever's up here.
That's what Matt's doing, just in time from the fall to the bottom.
Right. Well, again, the way I see it, it's gonna be one of the chosen. Fun.
Right.
That's what I think I'll do. I'll just look to see where the chosen are, and I'll pick the top chosen.
There you go.
Because it's like
something out of that. Yep.
The Fire Slayers is up there. I know that's limited. That's
right. Oh, jeez.
And again, to be fair, KO's fine. They're it's a really odd feeling army.
Okay.
Because it's
I tend to agree. Whenever I play against it, it feels odd to play against too, because it just doesn't follow the same look and feel. of armies the way it plays.
It does not feel like an Age of Sigmar army. And then on top
Mhm.
of that, like the again, I know you and I have had games where we've
Mhm.
gone to turn 5 and
Yeah.
it comes down to a move or a roll or two,
Yeah.
and those are the best games.
Yes,
They're
I
always the
agree.
best
That's
games.
all a good game.
Because again, like the only time I get upset about losing is just when I just get stomped.
Right. Get rolled over and just told go home.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's what KO is. It's either you get stomped and
Yeah.
told to go home, or you stomp and tell the person to go home. There's very, very rarely any middle ground.
Right. No, I agree with that. That is definitely how they want to play. Either they are going to win or they are not.
Yeah, that's why I said at some point I'd like to hop on with you and like tabletop simulator and do like corn or something.
Yeah, we should definitely try and do that here sometime. Maybe after you're done prepping for NashCon and all that. Yeah.
Because I said
Yeah.
that seems like an oddly defensive army.
I think it's might not be a full on defensive army. It's more of a pick your moment and remember that you have blood points and set yourself up in a way to kind of mess with your opponent, what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So, all right. Well, I think that's all I had for this month. Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, glad to be back. Sorry I missed last month. Glad to be here and looking forward to the game you announced as well. Whenever we get around to that.
Yeah, yeah. That again, that is. I'm trying to work on that as well. We have not forgotten about it. It is not to ignore it.
Right.
Right now, everything's kind of pointed towards NashCon. So after
Right.
NashCon's
Yeah.
over, because again, we also want the story to last until the next book is announced.
Right. Yeah, that'd be nice.
um, but yeah, so basically the next step is like everything's just on hold for NashCon. And once NashCon's over, we'll. I don't know if. I don't know how I want to do. I don't know how I want to do everything. Like so,
Yeah.
do I just want to talk to you guys offline and go, hey, do you want to go Gur or Actually?
Right. Just talk and see what do we all want out of a game. Yep.
Or do we want to just do an episode where we talk about that stuff and make characters?
Oh, okay. People might be interested in somebody who doesn't know how to make character for the game. They can learn.
Yeah. And I have to relearn.
Fair enough.
We played Soulblight when it first came out, and I think I got most of it, and then it's all gone.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's still going to come. That's probably, like I said, it's looking like it's going to be late September, early October right now, but things change.
Okay.
That's not an official date announcement. I'll make sure that we have an announcement. We'll open a show announcing that, and we'll also tweet it out as well. And
there we go.
Out as well, so or exit out now.
Yeah, exit out. Oh boy.
Or you could also thread it out.
I was going to say there's a lot of those now ever since everything's been going on.
Yeah, we'll have to exit out. We'll have to thread it out. And we'll have to truth it out. There you go. That's the.
Jeez. Yeah. Just go to every social media platform. Hey, look, I know you don't care about this, but it's here.
But yeah, so
just scream into the void.
Yeah, so if you're at NashCon, you see me, come over, say hi. Everyone, because I believe we'll have Nova before the next episode. Nova will be the weekend when the next episode comes out. So,
right.
Good luck to everybody at Nova. I hope everyone has a good time there. I apologize for not being in attendance, but I cannot do
NashCon straight in the Nova.
Right.
Yeah.
Heck, I was getting yelled at by the locals for not going to Fabricators, which is the week before NashCon.
Oh, geez, just what you needed. Right. Yeah.
So there you go. There's another shout out late in the episode from for the Hail Mary Pass. If you aren't going to NashCon and you're looking for something to do the weekend before, come on down to Pittsburgh and do a 2-dayer there.
There you go.
I'm very disappointed I'm not going to make it because he is doing a Grugny themed tournament. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. You sure you can't squeeze that in?
Yep. All right, everybody. Have a good week, and we will see you next month.
See you next time.